Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here for Matt Murray. I'm here for Matt Murray.
Yes, aren't we all? I mean,
I'm here
Jesus.
for you, Matt. We're all actually here for you. This
Hello.
week, I want to make sure you're doing all right. I'm here with Sean Bell.
Hello.
And none of us are here for James Farley.
I'm right.
James Farley's barely here for
right.
James Farley.
Yeah.
You're right, James.
I was just laughing at you being there for Matt. It's really sweet.
I'm always there for Matt. I really,
Friendship's funny to James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Humorous.
I'm
just not used to it, am I?
It's a novel concept.
What? You're not used to what? Empathy.
Well, not from you, no.
No, obviously. Like you've shown me any in our multi-year relationship, our multi-decade relationship. You've never shown me any sort of we are getting to that point.
It's mad when you think of it that way, isn't it? It's been
I think it's
long
like
time.
20 years.
Yeah.
I think we're 20 years. No, we're more than that. We're like 22 years, James.
Yeah.
Oh, you get less for murder. We'd like to start the show.
You'll be out now if you killed him when you. But people always say that,
when you
and
first
it's
met
the
him.
shittest because it's like, well, what? Yeah, but you wouldn't have murdered them when you first met them. That's insane.
Yeah, I know, but they're not being literal, are they? It's just It's just okay. We like to start the show by thanking our Patreon producers this month. They are the QuickBooks chap, Simon Nelson, Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Trans Rights are Human Rights, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gazman, Rocketman76, Grey Dragon Claw, Smooth Monkey, Don Whiskerando, Colin Smith, Richard Sawyer, John Tempelli, Jackie Sniper, Gordon Garrow, Safe As Records, Sam Higton, Freelance Police, Jonathan Edwards, and happy birthday, James S. from Tom S. They're the Full Nels crew. They keep the show going, and you can do too by going to patreon.com/TCGS. Listen, the Full Nels crew, they're the main ones, right? Let's just get that out of the way. They are the main ones. But if you can support the show in any way, it really is appreciated. It keeps us ticking by. And there are various different tiers. You can listen to the bonus show, hear all about my trip to Disney. That went out last week. This week, we've got our video Patreon show. We've got a Vidian Patreon show in which, what has it been? We're playing, should we say it?
Yeah.
We're playing Super Mario Party.
Yeah.
It's gonna get personal.
Yes.
I mean, have you got it in what you've been playing, Sean? Super Mario Party.
I haven't, because I feel like I've nothing new to say about it, especially other than
But I think it's interesting because you have always had a real hatred for the Mario Party series.
I mean,
not unjust. I never
was
did.
gonna say.
It's not unjust, right?
Yeah.
But every time it comes up, you're always like, "Fuck that series." so you now getting Super Mario Party. Well, how did you react to it?
It's still bullshit, but it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be, right?
Right.
Go sorry.
Yeah, my view's always been, but so's Mario Kart to quite a large percent.
Yeah, suppose.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like it don't really matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, go on. Sorry, it is still bullshit. Yeah, it's no.
It is still bullshit, but so we'd recently had to go on Mario Party 3, one of the N64 ones that's on the Switch Online service, and that even when you just fully I know this is nonsense. I don't care if I win or not. It's like every turn you're just like, what the fuck? This is fucking insane. How's anyone supposed to win this? And yet,
how have I rolled 4 1s?
Yeah. And it's like, oh, you landed on the space where you get a star, but actually someone just landed on another space that makes it be Bowser instead. So now you lose coins and you go back.
It is incredible because it's just designed to make children angry.
Yeah. Yeah. Like not a single person on that team was like, well, let's make it a good board game first, and then we add the mini game. Like no one gave a shit about it being a good board game. Like it's just fucking nonsense.
But the co-op mode in this one in Super Mario Party is genuinely brilliant, right?
Yeah,
because
really good.
You're not even going along a normal board. You go off on your own direction.
Free movement. I wish you could do that in the main, the normal game. It probably wouldn't work for some reason. I'm sure they must have tested it or whatever. But but no, Super Mario Party is genuinely a really good time. But it's still sort of bollocks, so it'll be very fun. It's a bit like our Game of the Year show, right? We will all actually we'll end up really caring a lot.
It's like Le Tournoi. It's pretty much the same as that. It's just
Exactly.
bollocks, but we
Maybe
made
we
it up
do
on the
another
last
tournoi, but it's just 4 months of Mario Party.
yeah. No, you'll love it, Matt. It'll be a really
I'm
good,
excited
really good
to
laugh.
try
So
it.
we will be taking that very seriously,
Yes,
and
but also,
we will be
Investment.
playing.
no, for your consideration this month. That will be next month.
Promise.
That will be
Promise.
next month. It's just been crazy. You might have noticed the amount of guests we've had on recently. Everything's up in the air, but we're hoping it will be settling down now. There's no more Marvel calls, of course, but I did watch a new Marvel film, so we might as well do the Marvel calls this month. The latest episode. James, are you ready?
Yeah, go for it, Bill.
You all right, James?
All right, how's it going?
Yeah. I just watched Ant-Man and Quantumania. It's fucking shit.
Well, I disagree with you, but never mind.
Doom.
Am I on
There you
this?
go. There's your
Okay.
episode of Marvel
Never
calls.
mind.
It's not a very good film.
Oh, it's all right.
It's not as bad as.
Yeah, it's nowhere near as bad as the fucking nerds said.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very bad.
It's a flop because it only made $500,000, $500 million, whatever.
Okay, we're
Calm
not
down.
doing one for Guardians. Don't start. Save the date. I've got written down. We got a bit of an
Question mark.
announcement, haven't we?
Ooh.
We've got a little bit of announcement. Who wants to take over? I think you should, Sean.
Do you want me to take over?
Well, you're the main event, aren't you?
Oh, do you know
You're
I
the
had an
headline
idea
act.
for this?
So, I mean, we are calling it TCGS Con again, right? Or did we decide it wasn't called that? It's definitely right. So
we've definitely called it
Con.
TCGS Con, but do you not remember the subheading, which might
North
give away
North?
something? We're about to announce TCGS Con North.
Yeah. We know we said we'd do one further south, but an opportunity was presented to us that was too good to pass up. So we're going to be doing in Sunderland. We're going to be doing another day of laser quests, mini golf, etc. Full setup, followed by in the Cuisining live.
Yes.
So that's
Can
it.
could go.
I don't know if I want to do like a show or do I just want like a pub quiz vibe. I mean,
I kind of just want to hand it all over to you. Yeah, like
See, I was hoping this was going to be like us standing on a stage behind things. The four of us, and then you being the quizmaster. And I was also
that would work
yeah,
as well. We've got to work out the technicals. We've been working. I mean, this has all come together very quickly.
Yeah.
And John, if you're listening, we know it hasn't come together very quickly, and we've delayed everything, and it's been very slow. But for the listeners, it's all come together very quickly, and now we need to sit down and organise it. So, the funny thing is that it's happening almost exactly a year after TCGS Con North, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it July? Is it? What's the date? It's supposed to July the 1st.
Save the date. We don't know which date to save though.
Yeah, July the 1st, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Saturday.
July the 1st, the Saturday. It will be in Sunderland. It will be Laser Quest. It will be a ticketed event. More information to follow. So just save that date.
Get your hotels booked because remember what happened last time. They all start getting the prices shot up.
That's true. That's absolutely true. James is flying over, and there's a chance possibly for a live show later in the year, but we've not even started looking into that yet. So, in terms of,
I do want to go down south because we promised it before. We do want to do it, but as Sean said, there's an opportunity that came up and.
It was sort of one of those things that we had to take advantage of. So, TCGS Con North, 1st of July, Sunderland. We will see you there. Hopefully, save that date. More info to follow.
Absolutely,
it's exciting.
It's
exciting. Are you looking to get your revenge, Matt? Are you going to be taking pro lessons?
100%. Yeah, I'm going to go as hardcore as I did with snowboarding. Hundreds of pounds intensive. I'll probably lose my Laser Quest gun somewhere. I'll be sick inside Laser Quest. All the usual.
Can I just do mini golf instead of Laser Quest?
No, you got to do Laser Quest, mate. It's all part of it. It is all part of it. But we will be doing mini golf as well. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that. So that's it. for all our news and our Patreon stuff. It's time to get the feedback, but before we hear from the listeners, we got to hear from the main man himself, the returning James Farley. Did you enjoy last week's show, James?
I did. I thought it was a good show. I mean, I've got a couple of points
Okay.
that I've noted down
Right,
here
go on.
Uh-oh.
that I wanted to go over.
Go on.
I mean, mostly it is around cheer, which I mean,
fuck.
obviously,
we're not doing it again. No, we're not talking about cheer anymore.
Well, we
That's
are.
done.
No, we
We're
are.
not. James, it's been like 5 weeks. No one cares about this game.
I don't care.
Why
I'm
would
going
you
to
go
have
back
my
to
say.
cheer?
I don't care. I'm going to
Well,
have
it
my say.
depends. Are you going to talk about cheer or are you going to talk about me?
I'm not going to talk about you. I don't care about you.
Right. Okay. Okay. Cool.
I want to talk
Right,
about these
cheer.
other cowards sitting here on this on the call.
All right.
Cheer.
Again, still not talking about the game, but okay, fine. You want to talk about the cowards? Go
I
on.
mean, first of all, I mean, obviously, I did pronounce it incorrectly. I don't know why, but it's one of those games which every time I look at, I have to consciously think what it's called, and I made a
It's a
mistake.
cheer.
You still got it
it's
wrong.
terrible.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, it is cheer. Obviously,
Matt, he's about to eviscerate us. Don't anger him any
Yeah.
further.
I'm not going to do that. I mean, one of the points you made was you said, why was I focusing on what you said, David? I mean, I thought this was a podcast where we kind of like talk about each other's opinions and we sort of like have a debate about stuff. I mean, obviously, I'm not supposed to do that. I'm just supposed to come on and say, yeah, I liked it. I'm not supposed to like engage with what you said at all.
No, you can talk about me like that's the whole point of the show, but don't spend the whole time talking about
I
me.
didn't do that.
Talk about why you love the game.
But
Talk
the other,
about why you love the game, James.
yeah, I did.
Eh?
I did actually speak quite a lot about why I love the game. I mean,
No,
the
no, you
main
didn't.
thing though, I absolutely did. The main thing though was this
you didn't.
stuff with Sean and Matt with this because I was quite surprised by this. I mean, you threw me right under the bus, both of you, which kind of sucks. And I've got that's what I'm saying. You're cowards, the both of you, because
Okay.
I've got the receipts here. Like I've got receipts of of things you have said about this, and then as soon as David's on. As soon as David's on, you're just like, oh yeah, I agree with you, David. Yeah, Jones was being wrong.
What?
It's
Me and David have been the
agree with you.
polar opposite in this game, haven't we?
Yeah, same.
Well, hold on, James. Sorry, Sean and Matt had said nothing but good things about the game.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
they were
agree with them.
agreeing.
I don't like the game.
No,
And we're cool with that, man.
no,
We're
that's fine.
Cool.
They
We've just got
were
different opinions, baby.
they were agreeing with you having a go at me for criticizing, what you'd said and only talking about that. And you kind of
because
made
that's
out.
what you did.
You can't. I know, but you can't. They both kind of made out that I was the only one that was doing that, which is bollocks.
No,
Because as I
James,
said,
right,
I've got the
as
receipts.
someone who likes the game,
What are the
me,
receipts?
I wanted you to be on my side and defend and talk about the game, not talk about David.
I did also do that.
Okay,
But then I
here's
also
the
talked about
thing.
David.
Right. Okay. Fine. Right. Don't come in here wielding a gun and not shoot.
Yeah.
Don't just go, oh, I got the receipts. What are the receipts?
Okay, well, it depends on if Matt and Sean, if you're happy with me to read things that you've said.
No, hold on. You've already announced that you've got the receipts, so let's
I
hear
have, but
it.
I also don't want to use it without their permission.
Oh, yeah, just
What-
go ahead.
what-
I think my
you've
views on
already
the
mentioned
game
it without ask. Go on.
my views on the game are pretty clear. I said it wasn't perfect, but I really enjoyed it.
We're not talking about your views of the game, Matt. We're talking about your views about what David said about the game,
Oh,
which
yeah.
you failed to address on the show.
Hold on. Is these private messages? Were these messages like in a group that I'm not in?
These were just one-to-one messages, just like over WhatsApp.
One-to-one messages.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go then. Let's hear them.
Source.
Come on, Matt.
I mean, surely you were
Let's hear
okay
what
with
Matt
this?
had to really say. Sean, come on. Let's hear what Matt
I
and
said
Sean.
anything that interesting, but go
Let's-
on. Yeah.
I mean,
what Matt and Sean had to really
Yeah.
say about me
On WhatsApp.
behind my back.
So
on
I
WhatsApp.
asked Sean about about the what he thought about the game and everything,
Mhm.
and he said I'm
Yeah.
saving it for the show. Then he posted a
Right.
picture from Metacritic about how well the game was reviewing, and then he said, I mean, you were saving it for the show, but the show where
Yeah.
David wasn't on, obviously, was the thing,
yeah.
so that you
Okay.
wouldn't have a go.
Yeah.
Then
Right.
I asked him how much he played it, and he said not much, to be fair, but Dave's dislike towards it is very strange to me. and then he said,
It's because
I'm
Sean can't deal with difference of opinions. He thinks his
No,
opinion
we've
is
been through this,
right.
Dave. Well, I don't like if you'd said like, "Oh, I didn't get on with it," that would be one thing. But you were like, "I hate it. I fucking
Yeah,
hate
I
it.
did
It's the
hate it.
shittest
I did
game."
hate it. Yeah, I hated it. It was awful. Also, we haven't been through it. You've been through it with people behind my back, apparently, Sean. So go on, carry on, James.
No, that
And
was
then
a
I
conversation
said-
we had, Dave, on the
Carry
show.
on, James.
No, I didn't. Then we said, what do you think of this? And then he said, I'm still not far in, but I'm having a lovely time with it. Yep, I don't understand about how complaints about the way. Sorry, I've got to read that exactly as it's written. Yep,
He's
I don't
nervous,
understand
isn't he?
how complaints about the way it looks either. I mean, come on. That was one of the things. So these were some of the things
did
that
look like
we
shit.
talked about here. Which
Doesn't look like
last
shit,
week when
yeah.
you discussed the game.
So even Matt
Yeah.
agreed with me on that one that it looked like
Yeah.
shit.
Well,
not
I said it
look
looked.
like
It
shit.
looked. It didn't.
does
It,
look
it,
like
I,
shit.
I don't think. I don't think it looked like shit. It looked fine, but
It
its
had some
performance.
nice
So sorry. So
skyboxes,
what?
but-
Of what, James? Of what you've just read? Where's the big gotcha there? What is
There's
in
not-
that
there's
that
not
I
a
haven't
big
already
gotcha.
said to Dave?
Hmm?
What was in those messages
Yeah,
that I haven't
I
already talked
can't-
through with Dave?
No, I think what's in there, Sean, is the fact that we discussed this,
Yeah.
and you
Okay.
said, "Oh, I don't understand what Dave's problem is with this." And then last week when I was on and we talked about it, and then when I said my piece, and then the next week you were like, "Yeah, I don't understand why James just kept going on about this." And
Say
when
that
you did
it was Dave called you out for like focusing on him, and it was just a funny bit, and I laughed. I
Yeah.
wasn't there going like, "Yeah, actually, it is shit, isn't it? I'm going to betray James."
No, you were just like "Oh, I don't know why he's got such a problem with this. This is ridiculous." And then
No, hold on.
Is that a quote? I don't think I said that.
No, that wasn't a quote at all.
No.
Right, James, what
Go
you've
on.
got confused about here
Yeah, go
is
on.
that we'll get to you, Matt. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
What you've got confused about here is that they agreed that the week before all you did was talk about me instead of the game, right? They didn't say, "Oh no, David was right about the game."
No, we're not talking
Not
about
at
that.
one point
We're
did-
talking about the
right.
fact that Sean and I had similar opinions about this, which Sean kept very quiet when you were
We still
talking
do.
about this.
Right. Okay. All right. So what
Right,
did Matt say?
What did
I mean,
say?
Matt is not so bad, honestly. I mean,
Oh,
right.
it's. I mean,
So
James is now realizing he didn't really get me, and now
No.
he's pulling back on
He's
it.
got even
Sean,
less on
Sean,
me.
listen, I think you misunderstand here. I'm not getting
I'll tell you what.
anybody.
I'll tell you what, James. If you take these receipts to Argos, mate, you ain't getting your money back.
No. He's like,
I mean,
you've
see,
hand-drawn
what you're
these,
doing
sir.
here, right, is you're misunderstanding what's going on here because you're thinking
Okay.
this is me trying to do a gotcha.
Right.
This is me
That's how you
just
set it
saying
up.
I'm
Yeah.
disappointed that you
Okay.
all threw me under the bus over this when you were also perplexed as to why David
We
was
didn't
so
throw you
annoyed
under
about
the
it.
bus. It's just that you were being run over by a bus in quite a funny way.
But you were
and
driving.
we didn't intervene.
You were fucking driving that bus.
You know,
Anyway,
the
Okay.
people.
I was a
that-
mere
if you-
passenger, James.
Can I just ask, just at this moment here, can I just ask if any of our listeners have played Chia? Did you, when you were playing it, did you think this will be the game that brings down the computer game show? At any point did you think this is going to be
is
the
it.
end of those
This
A
is
guys?
the
solid
fulcrum
7 out of
upon
10.
which-
Killed it.
So
Or
what
6, I think.
what did Matt say that wasn't that bad then?
I mean, Matt's wasn't so bad. I mean, I talked to him about the game difficulty, and like I said about, I thought it was easy, if anything. And Matt was like, "Yeah, I agree 100%." And then I said to him, "I'm on your side with this." And he said, "I said, I don't get why David hates it so much."
Again, though.
And then
Why focus on me? I didn't like a game you like. That's all right, isn't it?
no,
And then
but
you said, "Oh,
come on,
I
this
was
is
doing it for the
bollocks,
show." Well,
because
apparently not. You're doing
ridiculous,
it in private
David. This is a
messages,
show
James.
where we discuss things between us, right?
Correct.
Of course, we discuss each other's opinions about stuff. It
But
would be
not-
weird
not
if we
in
didn't.
private messages on the show. You're doing it
come on.
little private in your little private messages, James.
Yeah, sure. So anyway,
Have you got anything else, James?
That's not a lie. You're reading them out now. You're literally
know.
reading them out now. You can't just go, yeah, sure. You're reading them out.
I'm reading them out. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what else you got, James?
So I just said I don't get why Dave hates it so much. Then Matt said, "Oh yeah, I dig it." So yeah, it's not too bad.
See, Matt said, "I dig it."
Yeah,
Your point was, "I don't know why David." So
So
James,
what have I-
right? So James, please just listen to me just for one moment. What we've worked out here is the point that I was trying to make last week. Even just then, reading back your text messages, Matt saying, "I like the game," and you're saying, "Why doesn't David?" Do you not now
No,
think,
it's
"Oh,
nothing to
maybe
do with
something's
that.
going on
I
here.
haven't got.
Maybe I've got
listen.
my focus needs to be." No.
It's nothing to do with your opinion about the game, David. What this is all about, it's about the fact that, for example, Sean and I discussed this, and then
Right.
as soon as you talked about it on the show, suddenly I was the only one that had a problem with your opinion, and that's not true.
But that's
But
not
I'd
what
already-
we were talking about.
All right, fine, whatever.
Yeah, we were talking about how your reaction was to it the week before. That's all. That's
Yeah.
fine. Okay.
Yeah,
Alright,
all I
but you did
wanted,
like
just
it,
to
Matt, yeah?
clarify my position, is that I wanted some real backup because I like the game and you like the game, and so a bit of positivity about the game. But you
I
just
did.
focus on
I was
David's
positive
opinion.
about it. I was positive about it, but then what happened, Matt, was that David then just started saying, "Oh, it's an attack on me. This whole thing's an attack on me." And then you guys were all just like, "Yeah, it was an attack on you, David. Yeah, he didn't talk anything positive about the game. Go back and listen to it. I think you'll find something quite different. Instead, you cowards. You just fell in line with the main one."
I think you might, because I didn't say it was attack on me. I just was wondering why you were focused on me. I didn't say it was attack on me. I wasn't fearful for myself. I could,
Okay, fine.
I could stand up for myself, James. I'm a big boy. But I mean, you just seem so focused on me instead of the game that you love.
Well, no, it's not the case, is it?
The
When you're
rather
talking
shite
about
game that you
when
love.
you're talking about a game,
That's
it's a
not shite.
debate. So you answer,
Okay.
you discuss what other people have spoken about it, which is what I did.
Can the title of the show be "What Other People's Have Spoken About It"?
Oh,
please?
come on.
Write that one
Fuck
down
off.
for the.
I mean, the next time James says he's got receipts, I'm probably not going to be as worried as I was about 15 years ago.
I mean, to be fair, when I was going through, I was like, sure, maybe, but Matt
Do I
Steve's
have
really weak.
receipts?
What happened to Columbo, James? How the mighty have fallen?
It's been a very, very busy couple of weeks, and
Here we go. We go back to that now, are we? Okay,
Yeah.
that was the problem. Listen, let's never talk about that game ever again, please.
Well, save it for
I
game of the year.
haven't finished it yet. Yeah.
It's a good game.
Mate,
Might
fucking
come up
nominate
again.
that. Nominate that.
You fucking watch me,
please.
David.
Wild card, people's choice.
Yeah.
Feedback for the feedback from the listeners, Matt. What they all say. They all
Yes.
love it last week, did
We're
they?
going to start. With Rocketman76, who is a legit person who works with rockets. So this is interesting.
Which somehow I'd never put two and two together on that one, but yeah, carry on.
It's not just a name. It was wonderful to hear from Major Tim Peake on a recent show, 346, during the listener feedback section. However, he has let himself down by mistakenly stating that the ISS is a zero-gravity environment. As everyone knows, the gravity on board the International Space Station is approximately 89% of that of Earth. Therefore, astronauts on board the ISS, of course, experience microgravity. In effect, astronauts are in a constant freefall as they are falling around the Earth. I previously met Major Tim Peake when he came to my old workplace. I gave him a tour of the Satellite Control Center. Looking back on his visit nearly 15 years ago, admittedly, he was more interested in how the tables were put together and asked many questions about the paint color on the walls. This obviously gives an indication that his thoughts at the time.
And then we had a phone call 2 hours later saying, "Sorry, Tim Peake couldn't make it today." And you're just staring at who you thought was Tim Peake. So what colour is that paint?
This obviously gives an indication that his thoughts at the time were with hardware DIY and perhaps future commercial opportunities were being queued. Clearly, he was not focused on preparing for space flight. As such, it is obvious that in hindsight to see why his lack of understanding was cruelly exposed to the TCGS listeners. I apologise to all listeners on his behalf. Well, thank you, Rocketman76. It's good to get some clarification on what Tim Peake's real, focus was when he visited you 15 years ago.
Do you think Major Peake was doing that thing? When you're in a situation where you are out of your depth and you sort of think, if I can at least ask intelligent sounding questions, I might not embarrass myself. But unfortunately, he went for the paint color and how the tables are made.
Yeah. What can I talk about on their level?
Yeah.
Great paint.
Yeah, that doesn't show a hell of a lot of respect, does it, for the people that showing him around?
Really doesn't.
Why are you even here, Tim? Why are you here? Okay, all right.
Rory Warrior has messaged, as someone who sometimes messes up pronouncing their R's and W's, I never risked saying anything that was rank at school.
Because wanking.
Yeah.
Original no one would have batted an eyelid if she said something was wank in school, surely, unless talking primary school.
Good point.
Yeah, that's
case
true.
Go, what's that?
Have some of that, Warrior.
Original Stew's got back in touch, which is great. Lad's got a mountain of feedback, so I'll try and be concise. Thanks to Mike for the feedback for a few episodes ago, assuming he's from the Hunt family, and I wish him well.
Nice.
David, a ragu is a tomato-based sauce popular in Italian cooking. Adding ketchup to the base ragu is quite common and not like putting Heinz in your branded ragu from a jar. Sean,
Yeah, because that's
all right.
Yeah, that's the image I had in my head that they were using the brand name ragu.
Yeah.
This is one because
I thought that's clearly not what they were saying.
Yeah, because this is one where like everyone was sort of talking over each other on Skype, which we don't use anymore. And I sort of missed it, and then people in the chat were like, "Ragu's just not. It's not just a brand. It's a." And I was like, "Oh shit, I've missed something here." Sorry, Stu.
Oh god. That's if there's no Bell's Kitchen for 2 years. These are the kinds of mistakes that happen. James couldn't help noticing a word-for-word question on both yours and the Player One podcast regarding a potential success/failure of PSVR 2. JCA Farley named directly on the letter and under pseudonym in the former. Latter, I mean, yeah. I thought you wrote letter. JCA Farley named directly on the latter and under a pseudonym in the former. Padding out your own content or just a phrase to raise the question on your own?
I mean, the simple answer to this is I did write that to the Player One podcast. So I wanted to hear them talk about it. And somebody from that show then sent the same question back to us so that we could talk about it.
So
and that's
basically
doing
that back
what
and
happened.
forth, like the same question every time, and see how long it goes on for.
Yeah,
is that the plan?
That's the idea.
Look at James. Look at James. Yeah, getting in with these celebrity bromances, and it eking onto the show. Pathetic.
Just me and the boys. Thought it'd be funny to ruin our show.
You wouldn't see me fanboying out over someone and keep mentioning them on the show, so they might like me a little bit more.
Podcast friends. One more for David. Sorry, but don't cry, working class hero, over going to Butlins to Matt after returning from Euro Disney. I couldn't even afford Firely, sunshine.
Oh well, yeah. There's a. I mean,
Dave did very clearly explain the extenuating
No, that was on the bonus show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
sorry,
that was on the bonus show.
I thought this was all on the bonus show. Sorry.
No, we briefly mentioned the Disney stuff. I think because, there was a reason why we ended up in Disney. So listen to that and feel bad about yourself. Yeah,
I was going to say,
accusation there.
Pay £5 to feel terrible.
Original Stew.
Yeah.
Lastly, my son gets really jealous when you mention me because he's 9 and podcasts and YouTube equals fame to him. So please can you give him a shout out, not call his dad a cunt this week. His name is Will and Sean is his favourite. Love and kisses from Stu.
I've always loved Stu and Will. Great family.
I don't like either of them.
No.
Well, if you're listening, why? Why is Sean your favourite? He's the worst one.
I'm just...
there are others on the show that are much better. For example,
you couldn't just leave it with just like, oh, Sean's all right, I suppose. You couldn't just be ambivalent.
No,
you had to put me at the bottom.
No, that's where my ego comes into it. My horrific narcissism comes into it, and I'm like, why are you not? Why am I not your favourite? I'm the best. And then I start lashing out, Sean. That's
maybe that's why I'm their favourite.
Nah, that's not why. They're just, they need to mature a little bit. Go on.
We got a couple of bits of correspondence about Futuroscope. Now, this was on the main show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Chris Little, hello everyone. Words cannot express my enjoyment to hear Sean describe his Futuroscope visit. At the age of 17, I had the misfortune of attending a sixth form trip to this cursed destination. My trip sounded extremely similar to Sean's, including the 18-hour coach trip right down to the evening when they put all the arcade machines on free play. Halfway through the coach journey, we stopped in Paris at about 6 a.m. I managed to hold on to my wallet, which was a bonus. The teachers gave us a couple of hours to grab a bite and look around at 6 a.m.
Yeah, mate, that was what happened to us as well. It was fucked up.
Fucking hell. Yeah, it wouldn't happen these days, would it?
No.
I don't think so. My friends and I found a little cafe and enjoyed a delicious continental breakfast. Having finished eating and paid for the bill, my mate
European
Ben...
thing I fucking ever heard in my life. What is this? Here we're having a continental breakfast in the middle of Paris at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Surely... Go on.
Having finished eating and paid the bill, my mate Ben and I visited the bathroom. I was midstream in one of the cubicles when I heard an agitated French voice talking loudly to Ben, who was washing his hands. I was immediately confused because the voice was female. The loud talking quickly turned to angry yelling, and I heard what sounded like a scuffle. After a loud
No.
bang and the sound of
What?
somebody falling over, I emerged
this
from
is
my
bollocks.
stool to see Ben lying on the floor of the cubicle next to mine. The angry woman had shoved him through the door. To make matters worse, the cubicle was occupied by someone having a dump, who obviously hadn't locked the door properly. To exacerbate things further, that someone was Mr. Hamlin, the head of media studies. After a mumbling apology, we swiftly made our exit. We never found out why the woman had come into the men's toilets or what her fucking problem is, and Mr. Hamlin never mentioned the incident. Ben was
I
fine,
bet
by
he
the way.
fucking didn't. Well, why would he
No.
mention the incident?
Oh,
Excuse
hey,
me,
kids, do you remember that?
cool kids.
You saw me
Do you remember
taking
when
the
you
dump?
burst into the cubicle, which I definitely didn't set up a whole elaborate scheme to end up with you? No, I've got right. Okay, I'm not even going there. But
How would
this
that
is,
be a setup?
well, you never know these.
Yeah.
these
Sorry for
okay.
the rambling anecdote, but Sean's story stirred up old memories, and yes, I can confirm Futuroscope is a load of old bollocks. Thanks for letting me be natural, Chris. Also, P.S. How was last week's episode not titled "Focusing on the Fart"?
I don't
Good
remember
point.
that.
Sometimes we just forget.
Yeah.
Matt writes a list of them down and then tells us at the end of it, and then 9 times out of 10 we forgot.
Didn't deem it funny enough.
There you go. Didn't pat- yeah.
Okay.
Golden Gary
I was
Doosan.
hoping it was going to be called Reach and Engagement. That would have been good.
That would have been
Is
good,
that the
actually.
most unsatisfying anecdote ever? Because we
well,
don't know what
okay,
happened to any of these people.
We got a message from Gary now, so
Okay.
quick one regarding Sean's hatred of the continental wonderland that is Futuroscope. I went when I was 10 years old, and I remember the wall of CRT tellies and arcades. I also went to the 3D cinema, where a model of Sagittarius turns to look at you and fires an arrow in your face. If that wasn't mind-blowing enough, right after that, little planetary orbs came floating in all around from behind us. Don't forget that this would have been 1993, and nothing sort of a miracle to my tiny, underdeveloped northern child brain. In short, I loved it, and Sean Patrick Bell can go fuck himself. Why won't this snooty Sonic art graduate let people enjoy things? Finally, with regards to French Yoda, I've been wondering, does he do his sentences back to front in French like he does in English, or would the French simply not tolerate such tomfoolery? Cheers, lads, except Sean from Golden Gary Dootan.
Unnecessary.
Yeah, it was
That's
a
an
little bit of
attack.
an attack there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess maybe it doesn't work in all languages because the construction of language in different
I think
Yeah.
I know what you mean, but
works
French is
different ways.
more or less the same sentence structure as English, though, right?
Is
So
it?
yeah, I think it'd be all right.
Oh right. Okay.
French
yeah, I
Yoda's
don't know.
fine. Japanese,
French Yoda's
not so
alright,
much.
is he?
Yeah, he's right.
What would a Japanese Yoda sound like? Matthew Murray. No,
Let's
guess
not
move on.
do that.
No, you
'cause
don't want to
that's
go
gonna
down. Okay,
go
fine.
Badly.
I will say now, Gary Dootan's latest episode of MGIF with Pete Donaldson is really good,
Oh, yeah.
and you should listen to it. Did you know Pete Donaldson is one of the main reasons why I'm still podcasting?
Yes, I knew he's one of
He
the
gave
reasons.
us like a massive hand. Like he gave us not a big break, but like he really helped us out early on by putting us on
That's right.
XFM on
Yeah.
the Alex Zane show. That was so. And then it turned out that before he started, he was talking about. Did you listen to the episode, Sean?
Which episode? Oh, I haven't listened to
The
MJF
Pete
yet.
Donaldson
No.
one.
No, not
He's
yet.
talking about how he used to work for the government and all this sort of stuff in like a shitty little office job. Yeah, he did that with my uncle. How weird is that? Like my uncle sort of said, "Oh, I'm going to Pete Donaldson's birthday party. Do you want to come?" Like he said, just invite anyone you want. So I was like, "Yeah, I know him from XFM. This is really weird." And then I met two roll muckers there. Matt. How weird is that? Yeah, small world. I can't remember their names. But
important
I was like, "Oh god," they used to go to the old the meetups and everything. It was really bizarre.
Nice.
James, you had your finger up in the air there. What's up?
Dude, I've got an answer for the French Yoda thing.
Oh yeah.
Go on.
So apparently, when he speaks in the French dub, it's object, subject, verb, which is different because apparently in French it's usually subject, verb, object. So they do the same
Right.
thing. They move it around. So.
Okay.
They move it
Object,
around a
subject,
bit.
verb.
Okay. Okay, there we go. There's Yoda just sneaking into the chat there. Matt, next bit of
Mark
feedback, please.
Sack. Currently, I'm listening to Matt regale us of his win of a PS5 controller in an arcade machine. Back in 2015, I was at Disney World, Hollywood Studios to be precise, and they had a similar style key game to the one Matt described in the Pizza Planet restaurant. Do note, this looks nothing like the one in the Toy Story film, and is a basic sit-down fast food pizza place.
Cool.
Except this one, I poked a stick through the hole. I put in $10 worth of coins, while my partner exchanged for more cash because I wanted to try and win something. After $5 worth of coins, I had managed to poke it through the hole of Disney Design 3DS XL and push it. I was so excited until it didn't drop because it needs to be pushed from through a hole on either side.
What?
It's well tight. I kept going, and only after having spent $7, I managed to get the 3DS. I was so amazed. Easily the best win in one of these machines. And the console was also included inside and is treasured to this day. We then had to find a member of staff to dump $20 of quarters into an exchange for notes. Some people have been watching and saw our excitement of the win, and as we left, they quickly tried their luck on the machine. But as Dave said, after a payout, it's not going to pay out again quickly, is it?
Wow, that's some win. That's a high quality
That's
win,
incredible.
that.
But the fact you'll do it from both sides, when I won a pad, I'm like, something's going to happen. This is not going to work out. But sometimes miracles do happen. We're going to end with Buzz Aldrin, the real one that definitely went to the moon and listens to this podcast. That's
man, I want your watch, Buzz. Like, I really want your watch, but they're £6,000, and I'm never going to spend that on a watch.
Mate, we've got our hokey moon swatches. It's fine.
Yeah, but I'm angry at mine because the bits on the dial was wrong. So I never wear it because I get angry at it. Yeah, well, there's no loom, so they've just painted them green. I'm like, just paint them white. I don't care for loom. Go on.
Right, hey babies, regarding the chat about Kenner Bridge of Spirits, I got to thinking about my disinterest in AAA games. I think I'd rather play one heartfelt 7 out of 10 game than 10 AAA titles about being a depressed dad or indie games about being a depressed robot. Imagine there was imagine there was a market for I'll start again. Imagine there was a market for perfectly adequate games that do one or two things perfectly and half-ass the rest. Imagine the PS2 was still around. With the success of The Last of Us TV show, it's hard to imagine the need to actually play the game anymore. You get all the fun of zombie nonsense with a Netflix budget without the need for tedious block-pushing puzzles. Anyway, I'm off. I'm definitely the real Buzz Aldrin, who definitely went to the moon.
All right, well done on going to the moon.
Congrats.
If you were definitely the real Buzz Aldrin, though, you wouldn't need to say definitely went to the moon because it sounds like
I don't know, man. Even Buzz Aldrin has to deal with people who think
he
it
does
never
have to
happened.
defend that a lot. Yeah,
And
was it him or was it the other one that punched the bloke?
That was him.
In the face.
Is him?
Yeah. That was high quality.
That was good.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not for violence, but that was high quality.
It was.
I know what you mean. Like, I think this is my favorite thing about Sony. My favorite thing about Sony is Concrete Genie, Stray. I love, Kenner Bridge of Spirits. I love those games that are shorter, they're tighter. They're not 10 out of 10s. They haven't got the budget that those games have got. They don't blow your socks off visually or whatever, but they're nice short experiences that stick with you. And Stray, for me, I didn't like as much as, say, Concrete Genie. I would argue that Stray's probably the better game overall than Concrete Genie, but there was just like about Concrete Genie that stuck with me, that it was different enough and it had this unique idea and it kind of nailed it. But I still think of Stray every now and then. Like, I still think of that game, and it's one that will stick in the mind. And I think that's why I love Sony, because they do put these games out every now and then. You get them on other consoles, but But Chia, okay. Look, so people liked Chia. People, it had an audience. It reviewed well, and that would be up there. I would never turn around and say they shouldn't make Chia. Like, I'm there to talk about the game that I played and I didn't like it. Right. Mm-hmm. I'm not there to sit there and go, they shouldn't make games like this, because that when you're releasing games like this, there are going to be some very dud ones, And like, for example, I didn't like the Gunk or whatever it was.
I really wanted. I was thinking of going back to that this week for some reason, but then I was like, no, I deleted it for a reason. I really wanted to love it, and I did for a bit. It just, I don't know, didn't mix up the main thing much, did it? It was like, I'm like 3-4 hours in, and I'm still spending forever cleaning up gunk. I don't know.
It kind of and I just thought, okay, I get it, like quite early on,
Yeah.
and then it didn't feel like it did enough after that. But the thing with Microsoft, and obviously they weren't going to do this at the time, so this is all said with hindsight. But how much better would it have been if they'd have gone, right, let's take all these studios we got, and instead of working on 20-hour AAA games or whatever, big budgeted game, let's get them to do shorter, tighter experiences and release like a few of them within like a couple of years, a few years, just to get some stuff out. Do you know what
I mean, that is what Obsidian are doing.
Yeah, Obsidian are doing
That's
exactly
right.
that.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
that
you've
is
got
right.
like
Valve's
Hi-Fi
been
Rush.
built.
Hi-Fi Rush is another one like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Rush
to me, it feels like that's where they've been moving towards, is doing that. Just
really,
like-
but do you think they're going to keep doing that? Like, because for me, I don't think none of them have stood out. Like, I didn't get. I know you dug Hi-Fi Rush, but I didn't. Like, I sort of fell off of that quite hard when I felt
did
that
the
the
same.
main like hook didn't really work for me. I didn't feel connected to the music and the combat. And then you look at the gunk again, fell off of it. I mean,
this is something. I mean, it's in the news because we were going to talk about this in the news because there's this with Hi-Fi Rush as well. Because, I mean, should I just get into it now? Because we could move into this.
Yeah, let's get to the news. Let's start with that one then, because it works, doesn't it?
So what this was Aaron Greenberg who's Xbox, one of the chief people at Xbox, has said that Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for them, and he said this because Jeff Grubb on one of the Giant Bomb podcasts had said, he says, based on what I've heard, it's just straight up didn't make the money it needed to make. I mean, it got good reviews, the buzz was good. So where do you put the blame for something like that? Is it the price? Was it a shadow drop? Could it have sold more, or is it Game Pass? So it's unclear. Xbox are saying no, it did great. It's been a huge success for us. But then, obviously, I mean, these people, they do hear things, from other places, but we don't know if that's true or whether the information's correct or not. But I mean, I would say that anecdotally, from a lot of the games because I've played quite a few games on Game Pass, and one of the things that I find quite frequent, especially with Pentiment, I found this, and with Hi-Fi Rush, I found this as well, is that you get those the achievements that are the rare achievements, which means that very few people have, the ones that very few people have unlocked because nobody's done that. But then I found recently with quite a lot of those games that have come out, like ones that I played to the end, quite usually about a third of the way through, suddenly they all start being those. Kind of indicates that people are starting stuff, like you said, like with the gunk and stuff like that. People are starting stuff, but they're not continuing on.
Yeah, but I think you will always have that regardless because it's on that service.
Yeah, but also recently, I don't know if this supports or disproves your point, James, but the Rally DLC for Forza Horizon 5, which you do have to buy. I finished that, and it was the last sort of few achievements I got for doing, the last few missions were all fucking 0.9% of players have got this. Which, I don't know if that, I don't know if that supports the point you're making, but I think you're right. Absolutely, you see it with other games. You finish some of these games and you're like, "Fuck, man, no one's seen this through." But then that's often been the case, right? That's always been the thing. Wasn't it with Red Dead 2? They didn't admit that fucking 80% of players spent 10 hours with it, and
but the difference is that that's a long game. That's 40, 50 hours, whereas these games are only 10 hours long, most of them.
But that's the difference between those two is that one of them you've had to have a financial investment into playing.
Exactly, and that's what I was going to say. If you're putting down 70 quid or whatever to for a game, I think you're much more likely to play through much further in that because of the fact that you've sunk cash into that. Whereas with this, there is a thing where you're just thinking, well, this didn't cost me anything. Or I mean, it does, but it cost me very little. So
yeah, but how many of those people would have bought the game in the first place then?
Difficult to know, isn't it? It's
that's what
this
I'm
is
saying.
Why, this is why it's.
I don't think there's direct results you can take from that. I
was going to say, which also makes it weird that they're saying, oh no, it was a breakout hit, and it the claims either way that it was a success or a failure, you can't really say, can you?
Yeah, Microsoft was always going to defend itself and say, oh no, because this is going around, and then there's op-eds about, what does it mean, and Game Pass this and this and that, and Shadow drop that. So Xbox is always going to come back and say, no, it did really well for us. Like, they don't have to actually quantify it with anything. Like, we've, said, I think they did say 2 million plus players in the quote, but maybe people can work out that data anyway from leaderboards or whatever it is. I know it did really well on Steam. But because I think it's like number 1 on Steam as well at the same time it launched on Xbox.
Enough.
But they always get to defend that, without being too specific.
What do we mean by it's done very well? Like, if you're saying,
this is it, isn't it?
If you're saying it's like 2 million players, okay, well, 2 million players have downloaded it and played the first level, like so. But then the thing is that's all fine. Like, it doesn't matter. But then how's that going to affect the way that games are going to be designed though in the future? Because if you're thinking, what is the point of putting together a game that's even 10 hours long if very few people are actually even going to play that far? And what's the point of putting the resources into that, especially because people are not putting down 70 quid for it?
This is what I'm saying, though. This is what I'm saying. You can't take the results from Game Pass games and separate them out from store-bought games in a very simple way. Because you would say, okay, with a Game Pass game, just to keep it simple, 10% of people get past the first level, 90% of people ditch it. Then you've got to ask yourself, well, how many of that 90% would have bought it? Because if it was half of those 90%, the percentage of people that did go past the first level would jump up because you're including people that never would have bought the game if it was for sale anyway. So direct comparisons don't work. There's too many variables. And
plus, like,
it's I think Microsoft would look at it as a successful game is if it was announced and the subscription level shot up.
I was going to say, because that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, like,
that's the thing.
Well, what if, 2 million people played it, whatever, fine. But if 200,000 of those people were people who weren't previously on Game Pass and then went, actually, fuck it, and then forgot to cancel the subscription for the next 3 years, then that game is a success. But then how do you 100%. Even, like, to track that stuff must be a fucking nightmare.
But they must be doing that because I think, the success is, are they getting new people? Are these games getting new people to subscribe?
Yep.
But then also, is it aiding with retention as well? As in, like, people not cancelling, stuff,
they will backtrack that because they'll both say, like players who had downloaded Hi-Fi Rush, how long was their, were they members before? Yes or no? How long was their membership? And how many other games did they play? How long did they spend in games? And all these are all metrics that they want to increase. Ultimately, like how long can they keep people inside Game Pass? Whether it's downloading, the frequency of downloading titles, how long they're in games, how long the subscription lasts, obviously. So you got to imagine it with this being such like a surprise kind of showing, a stealth drop. Like loads of people would have, who weren't already members of Game Pass, would say, I'll get a month, and then the hope is that other games come out in like preceding 2, 3, 4 weeks that meant then people kept their subscriptions on for another month or 2 or 3.
I mean, sure. I think though the shadow drop thing, I don't think that as much as you want it as a hardcore gamer, you love seeing that. Look at this new game; it's available now. As much as we like that stuff, I don't think it's good for the game. Like I'd love to hear someone argue that a game benefits from doing that, because I don't think it ever would unless it was off the back of a very well-known franchise. Launching a new IP like that is crazy, in my opinion. You need people to learn the name. Chatting to people, they didn't know what it was called. Have you played that hi-fi game? I can't tell you how many times I heard
Rush.
Or
it's hard to beat.
People going, David, I noticed you playing this hi-fi game. What the fuck is that? Well, because they didn't watch the direct, because not the majority of the people don't. Very small percentage of people watch those things.
Does shadow drops ever work? Like, really? I know, as you said, like, we love it, but does it? I mean, the famous one,
in terms of like
the
mass awareness, don't know.
Yeah, no, I maybe not. I don't know.
I mean, what did define work? I mean, if this is done well on Steam, outside, I think Ben mentioned in the chat, outside Forspoken in the same week on Steam, whatever.
Not the highest bar to clear, but yes.
No, but still, it's so well even on platforms where people had to buy it versus just get it on Game Pass. But
Matt, I think when they said does it work, and you can't answer this because it's impossible to tell, but the question would be, would it have benefited? Did it benefit? Like, do you think it sold and did made more money by being shadow dropped than it would have done if it had 6 months of marketing behind it. I mean, I there's no way of knowing, right?
No.
Because we didn't have that scenario. We don't really know. But I'd really like to hear the argument to say no, it did benefit from shadow dropping, because I don't see it. I wouldn't understand it if it did, especially for a new IP, because people need to know, they need to learn the name of the game, and they need to see it and get it in their head that this game is coming, and read the buzz, and get excited for it. There's no chance of doing it when it shadow drops. So, yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah.
We've probably talked that one to death, haven't we?
Okay, shall I move on to the first, the original
Yes.
first story I had? So Nintendo had an indie world. This
did have
last
an
week.
indie world.
Did anyone watch it? Because I didn't.
Yes.
Yeah, I watched it. I thought it was good. I thought
Yeah,
some really cool stuff in there.
It's all right.
Yeah, no
Was there-
big hits, nothing that blew anyone's mind. No major announcements, but the games that they showed all looked nice enough.
So what do you want to do? I mean, is there anything particular you'd like to talk about, or not really?
Not particularly. Sean, did anything?
I was gonna.
stick
I
out
mean,
to you?
there was the sequel to West of Loathing, the sort of stickman cowboy game. Looked very
Oh,
funny,
that's right,
and I've
yeah.
always sort of been
Yeah,
dimly
yeah.
aware that I should probably play the first one, and now I'm like, yeah, I really fucking should, because it doesn't look good, but there was just like loads of like funny little gags in it, so I do really want to try the first one now.
Right.
Go on.
Rift of the Necrodancer. That looked good.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, that looks fantastic.
I love the music to that. I'm probably getting that. It's coming out later
Did you
this
ever
year.
play the Zelda?
I
one
didn't.
of
I
them?
did the demo and I couldn't get into it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
No,
really
it was
enjoyed
just-
that.
Yeah, it was just
It was good.
frustrating me.
Because
Yeah.
I hated it at the beginning of that, and then I spent some time and sort of forced my way into it, and then begin to really dig it. It
Yeah,
was,
I thought it was
Yeah,
excellent.
the music was fucking great.
But this is great. I mean, I got a lot of a Wendan vibes off this.
Mm.
yeah, it did have a bit of a Wendat about it. I'm pretty certain I'm going to buy that game and play it to death. So looking forward to that. Blasphemous 2.
Yeah, that's a biggie.
I
was a
couldn't
surprise.
take the tone of
Yeah, I
the first
remember.
one, and that's my
Yeah, I remember chatting to you
That's
about
my
it when it came
problem.
out because I played that.
it's but clearly really good. The free Cult of the Lamb expansion as well.
Yeah,
Like,
that's gonna be huge, isn't it?
more
Should have
stuff
played
announced.
more of that because it's good. But there was I remember there was like loads of issues at launch, and I remember because I had it on Xbox, and it felt like the Steam version was like getting all these updates that was fixing stuff, and the Xbox version just wasn't. Which it will be down to the pain in the arse of certification and stuff, not necessarily the dev's fault. But I was just like, well, I'm playing like a shit version of this game now. So I ended up
I
shelving
played
it.
the shittest version of that game because I played it on Switch.
Oh god,
and
yeah.
I played it and finished it, and it was awful because it was like towards the end there was a really bad like frame dropping and like
Yeah.
freezing and all sorts of stuff. It was. I mean, I also don't think it's that great. Honestly, it's all right, but
It's sold so well, though, isn't it?
Yeah, they do really well. It's the art style really carries it, and the soundtrack. To be fair,
that was good.
Yeah, but
I'm
not,
looking
not,
forward
a bad, not
to-
a bad direct, really.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to my time at Sandrock because I loved my time at Portia.
yeah.
I thought that was
Yeah.
really all Porsche. I thought it was really, really good. It was just like another kind of one of those farming and construction kind of games with like a like a Stardew Valley. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. This is set in like it says it like a post-apocalyptic desert community. I just thought it was like a desert environment, whatever. It looks good. I wonder if I'll find time to play it. But yeah, I really enjoyed the one previous. Another big one, I mean, Oxenfree 2. I never played the first one, but people were quite pumped about that
Yeah,
being a
it
long
was
That'd
away
be really
sequel,
good. The
or-
first one, I played a bit of it.
Yeah,
And,
I
God,
I
sorry.
fucking
enjoyed
love the tone of it, the music, and we've seen that one before. So I don't think they showed us anything we hadn't seen before, really.
But then,
But it does look cool.
but Oxenfree 2, yeah. So that's a Netflix-owned studio, isn't it? So presumably that'll be
That's
free
right.
on your telephone.
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's good. Obviously,
Probably run better
there
as
was
well.
there's obviously no, Silk Song.
No.
But, it
no
was
Silk
solid.
Song. No.
Do you know? I was
Next
quite
story.
disappointed with that this time. Honestly, I know like you shouldn't.
It's never.
expect
It was never going to be on there. You didn't expect.
know.
Right, okay.
I know what's going to happen now because I'm certain that it's going to appear during that like summer stuff that Xbox does because I reckon it's going to be on that instead.
Yeah, I've
and
been
it's
saying a
gonna be
while because they announced. Yeah,
it
they
feels
announced
like
it's
gonna be
on
past
Game Pass, right?
Yeah,
But Nintendo, that game's too big to put on a indie showcase. They would put it on their
put it on a main one.
direct.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So yeah, you can't really. But yeah, that was their indie direct. Should we move on?
yeah. PlayStation have acquired a studio. They've acquired Firewalk
them.
Studios, and yeah,
Get the
they're
FTC
working...
involved. Get the FTC involved now.
Microsoft are shitting it.
We need to get a petition together.
Yeah.
Can we? Yeah.
They better not put They better not put Firewalk Studio games exclusively. Oh, that better not happen because
Right, okay.
I love
Who are Firewalk Studios and what have they done?
Okay, so who they are is they're
New,
from
aren't they?
Harold
Yeah.
Ryan. He was from Bungie, has this Probably Monsters collective, and they were one of the sort of the sub studios of that, and they're now becoming, it's the 20th first party studio that PlayStation have got. And yeah, as I said, they were founded in 2018 and they were a subsidiary, but they haven't released anything yet. Nothing's been released, but they are working on a sort of live service style multiplayer game. That's what's happening. And so, I mean, do you want to hear what Herman Holst had to say about it?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
We love
So he
their
said-
library of. Oh no, wait. I haven't listened to that. Shit, what are we doing?
They said Firewalk will bring its technical and creative expertise to PlayStation Studios. That sounded weird.
PlayStation
Because
Studios.
I stopped on PlayStation and then said Studios, and it sounded weird. Firewalk will bring its technical and creative expertise to PlayStation Studios to help grow our live service operations and deliver something truly special for gamers. So that's the thing. But they're expecting this year, no, by 2025, they're going to release 12 live service games. That's the plan.
Fucking
And
hell.
That is
six of those.
Read the
many.
room, Sony.
Yeah, and 6 of those are apparently coming by the end of this year. So at the moment, these are the studios that are working on these live service games. So Bungie, they're working on a new franchise that's currently codenamed Matter. Then you've got London Studio, Haven Studios, Deviation Games, Naughty Dog, Guerrilla Games, and Firesprite, who are apparently working on something to do with Twisted Metal. So yeah, they're going all in on this, even though at the stage when people are getting a bit weird about them and not wanting them anymore.
Right.
It's
Can we?
odd.
Yeah. It feels like we need a new big moment in gaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
We
need
mean
a new
another
thing.
What's the
sort of
next
trend.
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the next thing?
Yeah. Okay. Next story is that US PS5 sales are now tracking ahead of the PS4s on a time-aligned
Mad,
basis.
isn't it?
It is mad.
It is mad. I think I've said recently on the show, this generation for Microsoft more than Sony has been a massive disappointment. It feels like it's not even really started yet,
Yeah.
and I'm absolutely blown away that the PS5 is still doing this well compared to the PS4. Because with the PS4, games had started coming out a good 6 months to a year's into it lifespan. And all right, we've had a few games on the PS5, but come on, like nothing that feels like the next gen has arrived, right?
No, there's not.
I
there's
don't know. I
been-
mean, like, I think Horizon felt super next gen. I mean, I said
mean,
all
it
about
looked
story, etc.
super
It
next
looked
gen.
It looked
I
incredible.
wouldn't say it felt next gen.
I think
It
it did. In
looks
terms of, well, like, yeah, graphically, animation wise, visuals. I was like, yeah, it looks absolutely stunning. Like that's what you
Right.
pay your money for. Ratchet and Clank look good. Yeah. So Benson chat saying, isn't it on PS4? I think that's where they get confused because a lot of these games are like they're actually to be on both PS4 and PS5. And so if you actually look at the exclusives,
Including
maybe
the
think, hang
game
on,
that
there's
you're
hardly any.
saying really
But-
felt next gen. That was on PS4 as well, wasn't it?
What? Sorry, Ratchet and Clank.
Wasn't Horizon's Forbidden West? Wasn't that? on
Yeah.
PS4
Right,
as
yeah,
well?
it was, but that's not to say like the PS5 version didn't feel next gen, just because it may also been on PS4. I was just playing the PS5 version. If we're talking
I
about
don't
whether
know,
it's
man.
exclusive,
I
then
played that
maybe,
game and I
but-
just thought this doesn't feel anything special. I mean, yeah, it looked incredible, but that's not. The games that I don't know. It wasn't a big enough jump to make me go, "Fucking hell, this has kick-started this gen." This feels like we're going somewhere now.
Yeah, like what have you
Doesn't-
played that has made you go like, this could not have been done on the previous gen.
That's true. I mean, if I think I've had quite a good time with the PS5 this year so far because there has been like God of War, there was GT7, you got Spider-Man 2 probably coming in September, and I did enjoy Horizon as well. There has been like they've released quite a lot of stuff, like compared with Microsoft anyway. Like there's been a lot of quite big releases have come out. But you're right, there's nothing though that has been like, wow, this is like.
Yeah, wow, this is like next level.
like
I think maybe Spider-Man might do that for me. I don't know, but it feels look, and maybe I'm being harsh because I'm thinking back to when the PS4 and the Xbox One launched. Well, I suppose we had Destiny. That felt new.
Maybe the jumps is getting smaller.
We had possibly. We had Titanfall, which I thought was, all right, that was on the 360 as well, but did you try and play it? You know what I mean? It was incredible when that launched. So we did still have some games where you go, no, actually, fucking hell. And I've yet to really... God of War was the closest we've come, I think.
Yeah, God of War looked amazing. I think Horizon... I mean, Ratchet and Clank was good. I think that was exclusive as well.
It was, yeah. It wasn't brilliant, though, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was all right. It is. See, a lot of these games are like all right to good and very enjoyable,
and they're all they're improvements. Like,
yeah, for sure.
But it's But then and I don't think this is consoles' fault, because like PC as well, right? Like it used to be. I mean, you'd have going back sort of 15, 20 years, felt like it was a regular occurrence that like a new game was coming out and everyone was like, fuck, I need to upgrade so I can play this.
Well, yeah.
And that's just not really been a thing for a long time.
Well, Astrobot Rescue Mission is not out. Astrobot Play Group or Astro's Playroom. That's not out on the PC yet. No, once that comes out, you'll notice you're going to want a new... right. But no, going back to sales, I mean, it doesn't matter, does it? Because they're still flying off the shelves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because they're fucking ugly.
And really expensive as well, honestly. Like
really expensive, They put
more expensive than they were when we bought them.
Yeah, I know. How nuts is that? But there you go.
So, following on from Hi-Fi Rush, also, Xbox is working on a mystery sequel that it says could take 10 years to make.
We don't care. Everything's been taking.
I was going to say every game they're releasing
taking long to make.
Oh god!
We want games now, Microsoft.
Plus,
it's been ridiculous.
As we all know, games that take 10 years to make usually don't survive that sort of dev process.
You've got that. And also, they never take. If you're aiming 10 years into the future, it's probably going to end up being 20 years if you carry on, isn't it?
Well, plus it's going to be based on things you thought people wanted 10 years ago.
Previous hardware, previous technology.
It's a live service.
That's what's amazing. Imagine
battle arena game.
Like
with crypto
forever,
and
where
NFT
they keep
integration.
changing. They keep changing it every time. So first of all, it's like a that, and then it becomes live service game. It becomes a crypto. It's a crypto game.
I hope James like right. So basically, what the story says is they're going to put like a team of dogs in charge of development, and that's why it's going to take so long.
Yeah. It's a very simple game.
It's made entirely by 6-year-olds.
So what this was spotted by Stephen Totillo, who he was going through the court filings because there's this legal challenge going on at the moment where there's a group of what he calls self-identified gamers who are trying to block the Microsoft acquisition of Activision
who
Blizzard.
else is supposed to identify them as a gamer? Who else is supposed to do that?
We used to just get called it by cool kids in the playground, but now we're owning it.
I don't think they were saying gamer, Sean.
There was a section regarding the length of time it took to develop games, like in these court documents, and then it says this. It says, for instance, according to one Microsoft executive, redacted, a forthcoming title from the redacted franchise may take a decade to develop. But the thing is, I mean, from that, nobody knows if they're talking about a new game or something we already know about. I mean, this could be Elder Scrolls 6, it could be Fable, it could be Perfect Dark, it could be any of those games. It's weird.
But the thing is, that's to plan for a 10-year dev cycle is just fucking stupid in this day and age, because the money it would, like, the sales it would have to get to recoup the costs is just impossible now. I don't think you can make like a AAA game that takes 10 years to make and make money back on it, unless it's fucking Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
or an Elder Scrolls.
Yeah. So it's kind of insane to just be like, yeah, it's going to take 10 years. Like, surely nobody actively wants that. But then, when was that that Elder Scrolls 6 like trailer, if you can call it that?
Well, it was just a logo, wasn't it?
Was it? Well, it wasn't. There was a logo, and then it was like a shot of just like panning over a landscape. So if we assume that like the game was already being worked on at that point, maybe it is going to come up to 10 years by the time it's.
Well,
and like you say, maybe it's one of the few franchises that does justify it, I guess. But
even at the time, I think they said, so we're doing Starfield, then there'll be a new Fallout game, and then Elder Scrolls. So by that time, it will be 10 years, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's funny because I was just looking, like with Breath of the Wild and with Tears of the Kingdom. Like Tears of the Kingdom's apparently been in development for 6 years now. It's a long old time.
It's been 6 years since the last one came out, hasn't it?
Yeah, and they said they started it pretty much as soon as it had finished. So it's getting on.
Yeah.
But there you go. Do you want the last story?
Nah.
Skip it.
It's not.
Yeah, go on.
It's not even the last story. So this is about Gary Bowser, who was the Switch hacker. He was the leader of piracy group Team Executor. And
Where
he was
people with a surname Bowser come from? Like, why is
isn't it?
that? I'd never heard of them before, and now one of them works for
now there's
Nintendo.
two.
And everyone's being sued by them.
So
Nuts.
obviously, this went badly for him, and he ended up in prison because of the modding that was going on. But now he's been released after this 40-month sentence. But he's apparently was ordered to pay Nintendo damages of $14.5 million. And so then after he came out, he did an interview with a YouTuber called Nick Moses05, and he explained that so far he's paid them back $175. But then he says the agreement with them is that the maximum they can take is 25 to 30% of your gross monthly income, and I have up to 6 months before I have to start making payments. So basically, it looks like for as long as he's alive, he's going to be paying them 20 or 30% of his income.
I mean, that is fun. No, I was chuckling at the 175 because I was like, oh, good, he's found a way to pay him like 50p a week or whatever. But no,
that was the headline I heard, that he's being forced to pay 25% of his annual salary to.
Jesus.
Right, I mean, maybe this is out of order to say, but I kind of want someone really rich. I kind of want someone really rich to take paid off for you, mate. Like,
that would be funny.
You were trying to, ensure games are still available, blah blah blah.
Was that what he was doing?
Like,
well, I mean,
I don't know the full story, but I'm assuming it's not as easy as.
I don't think this was all just
trying
about.
to preserve.
I don't think this is all about game preservation, and
maybe not.
Not
I
just
kind of
that.
think.
Now, that's not to say this punishment fits the crime.
Exactly.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying he deserves this at all, because he clearly no one deserves this, right? This just destroys the man's life. You know what I mean? But at the same time, let's not try and say he's a hero. And
No, I wasn't saying that, but I would love someone mega rich to say it's paid off now.
Yeah,
like
off you go.
That would be hilarious. What a way to end it.
But what if Musk?
But then if you had that fine,
I don't think he's got that anymore.
If you had that fine hanging over your head and someone was like, "Oh, I'll pay off the fine," wouldn't you just be like, "Can you just add another million? Can I just have a million?"
Yeah, why not?
Just
yeah,
doesn't make any difference to you, mate. Like,
I need two positives, Lynn.
That'll do.
I need one positive to cancel out the negative, and another positive because I want a positive.
Why not?
It's weird, isn't it? I mean, if I owed that amount of money, I think what I would do is go to my local practical joke store and get one of those glasses with a nose and the little moustache underneath it.
Yeah,
and fly some, because
this is
life in Canada.
Yeah, because it's a cruel punishment because, as you say, financially that's going to cost him for the rest of his life. But then it also doesn't even incentivize, because if that was me, I'd just be like, right, well, I'll just have shit jobs for the rest of my life then. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be like, oh well, I should probably try to earn as much as possible.
But you're punishing
so that
yourself there.
But do you know what I mean? Like, it would feel like, well, the harder I work, the harder I try, the more I give to Nintendo.
Yeah, but also
So-
the more you get yourself, though.
Yeah,
so
I
you
know,
just shoot
but
yourself.
Your life
in
would
the
be shit
foot,
then.
But the percentage goes up. Well, I mean, sorry, the percentage doesn't go up. The amount, because it's a percentage of your income, the amount you're giving them still increases.
Right.
So it's just.
But the
So it's
amount you're
bad
getting
enough-
goes up as well.
Yeah.
You just.
bad
I
enough
think,
that you got
I
this
think
thing
you're
over your
focusing
head.
too much on the 25% and not the 75%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
anyway,
weird, isn't it? It's weird. It is weird.
I mean, the US attorney Nick Brown said that Team Executor's actions are estimated to have generated over $65 million in losses.
Piss off. How's that still? Like, how are they still
Yeah, no,
trotting
that's
that
always.
stuff out?
Yeah. That's always inflated when you see that stuff, isn't it?
Like, it's been proven time and again
Well, yeah,
that
'cause you don't
piracy
know,
doesn't
do you?
really
Yeah.
cost. Like, mostly people who pirate stuff are the people who actually spend the most on game shit because they're nerds and they love it. Like, it fucking does me in.
Do you want the last story?
yeah, Sean,
Yeah,
you should
go
be
on
his
then.
lawyer with that kind of spiel.
I should.
Yeah.
Maybe it should be.
I'd have got him a innocent verdict.
Yeah, you would have got him
As
off.
they call it in court, not guilty.
do.
They call it innocent.
I love that bit in those dramas where the judge slams down his little hammer and goes innocent verdict, and then everyone gets the hula skirts out and puts one of those flower necklaces on, and then they
Yes.
all have a
Yeah.
party, don't they?
He has got innocent.
The guilty verdict ones are a little bit darker, but
Yeah.
I prefer the innocent verdict.
less fun.
Ones. Go on.
Those ones.
Less fun. Those ones. Yeah.
Okay, so last story. I was in two minds about this one, but then I thought I'd include it anyway because I mean this is thanks to Sarah. She sent us this earlier in the day because it turns out that Angry Birds has posted an official smash or pass TikTok where Red, the Angry Bird, says whether he would or would not have sex with different gaming characters.
This
And,
was one of the most bizarre things I think I've ever seen. So it's a TikTok where the red bird from Angry Birds is sitting, like looking at the camera as you do with these TikTok videos, with game characters appearing behind him, and him saying, the bird saying whether he would have sex with them or not. And even it gets even weirder than you think because one of them goes, "That's a child. That's a child. No, that's a child."
Wow.
It's so weird that it's one of those things where you sit down and you go, like, right, okay, like, you know, the KSI thing that happened recently where he used a racial slur and it was used and it was uploaded and it was taken down again, like within an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
You look at that and you go, yeah, okay, KSI, you know, it's all bad, but all of that. But then you also think the amount of people that must have seen that video and gone, yep, upload it. Like, how did it get onto the internet? How has the staff looked at that and gone, yep? It's the same with this Angry Birds thing. It must have gone through levels. Look, so there was a meeting. What should we do? How about this? And everyone went, yeah, great idea.
Cool.
And then the artist went, right, okay, so I do this, yeah. And then the voice actor goes, so I'm just saying whether or not I'll fuck these characters from video games, and then you'll put a child up, will you?
Yeah, who's selecting the games that the pictures they're going to show?
Are we sure this isn't just an incredibly bold community manager who's just gone, I think I know what's funny.
Yeah. I mean, the other one was KSI saying a racial slur. This is like, let's do something slightly risky, and it's absolutely banged on TikTok, and everyone's talking about it. It's very weird for the brand, but it has
worked.
Yeah,
or is this someone?
Done the job.
I was gonna say, is this someone thinking they're going to be out of a job when the Sega purchase goes through, and then start fuck it?
Hold on, you don't think this is problematic?
Oh, absolutely, I do.
I think it's weird. Yeah, I don't think it's on the same level as the KSI stuff, but
I didn't say it was on the same level.
So,
as KSI
so much brand stuff is like about shit posting and kind of on the edge.
Yeah,
of
but this
stuff.
isn't shit posting, is it? This is.
It's just
you
weird.
don't see why this is a problem.
I think it's weird, but yeah, I don't know.
It's okay because it's done well on Twitter.
What he's trying to say is he thinks it's weird, but from a marketing point of view,
this is what people are having to
loves
do
it.
to like win on social, I guess, isn't it? It is weird.
How is that winning on? Oh man, I
Well, they
fucking
got
hate it, 'cause
3.3 million views. That's what it's all about.
Is it
Yeah,
not
but
fair to assume that a
I
lot
guarantee.
of...
Well, hold on. I guarantee the KSI one would have got more views if it had stayed up and they hadn't pulled it. But it doesn't necessarily mean it was a good thing that it was on there, does it?
No, but I think one's a racial slur, which we can all agree is bad. This is a very, very weird video, but it's done well. Like I don't think the two are directly comparable.
No, I'm not saying they're directly comparable. I'm saying that they're both problem. I mean, I look at this and say, why is there a child being put up, like a child
Well,
character being put up in this discussion in
is
the first place?
that is a bit much.
They chose that. Also, there's the whole thing that the video game industry has a problem with sexualization of video game characters. For example, they've had attitudes between from male towards female video game characters. There's problems there.
I
and
mean,
this,
I suppose I can
this
see
goes
the
along with
argument
it.
that, like, well, yeah, but it's a cartoon bird. It's like, it's so absurd that I can see why they thought it wouldn't be problematic. But I'm not disagreeing.
I don't know
with
how you look at that and be in touch with what's going on in the world at the moment and say,
I mean, yeah,
this
to
is
be
fine.
fair, I've not seen it. 'Cause
You've
I'm not
got to see
interested.
it.
No, so I'm watching it now for the
Because
first
it
time.
goes on for ages as well. Like, it's not a quick thing. It's like you're sitting there going, this is still going on. And I don't see the joke. I don't see the... I don't know, man. I
Also,
looked at that and I
this
just
is a
thought,
character
"Fucking, this
which is
so weird."
aimed, like, there's a lot of stuff for those characters that are aimed at kids as well.
Yeah.
It's like it's not. I wouldn't say that Angry Birds is like a franchise which is just for like grown ups or whatever like that. It's like it's really targeted at kids, like in terms of like
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the other
Angry
media
Birds
they
has
produce.
been a bit weird on social for a while because I think, well, I'm sure I saw something a while ago and it's like that does not seem very Angry Birds like. I can't remember what it was now, but they're clearly trying to do all sorts of stuff to get a reaction, even though no one's playing the games. It's
Yeah, but it's
mad.
easy to get a reaction by putting up fucked up shit. Like, it doesn't mean
100%,
it's the
yeah.
right thing to do. Do you know what I mean? It's
it's
I
very
looked at it
weird.
and just thought, how the fuck did this make it onto the internet through a team? It must have gone through a team.
And it might
no
not.
way
Have.
they just
It
saw
might
it,
not
yeah.
have. Genuinely,
Well,
might have just been like one or two people.
If it is, then what the hell are they doing? Like, it's I know the Angry Birds as a thing has gone downhill and is almost irrelevant now, but it's still
Not to
somewhat
say,
relevant,
Chris, not.
right?
700 odd mil, mate. They paid for this. They'll be doing this on the Sonic account next.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Like at Sega HQ now, somebody's probably sent like the boss that TikTok, and he's like, "We bought this. This is what we bought."
Okay. So you're saying it might not have gone for a team. I've just looked it up. They've got 2.2 million followers. So if they haven't got a team controlling this, what the fuck are they doing? That Angry Birds account has got 2.2 million followers.
I mean, yeah, they'll have like a community manager. They'll have like someone doing the video production, if that's not the same person already. But yeah, it's wild. That's for sure.
It is wild. Sean, I suggest you watch it because you'll see how weird it is. It's super weird. Okay, is that it?
That is it. Yeah, there's no more news.
Good.
It's supposed
Should
to
we
end
get
on a
to what we've
funny
been
one,
playing?
James. It's supposed to lift our spirits before we go into what we've now. I'm just like, don't know what to think about
release.
anything now.
The big release this week was Minecraft Legends. Sean, Matt, you've been playing it. I mean, Sean, you've been very vocal about this already.
Some
You
opinions.
don't like Minecraft Legends, so I'm interested to see how you found it first, Matt. What did you think?
So, well, what kind of game would you describe it as, Sean? Because it feels more like a kind of a tower defense meets open world. I mean, but also kind of horde mode elements. It's kind of weird, isn't it?
But then it has none of the intricacies of tower defense, right? Because
No,
like,
and none of the
Go on.
real interesting things of Minecraft
yeah,
either.
yeah,
In
it's
the-
like
in the
it's a.
crafting.
I guess it's like an action, like a third-person sort of action stroke strategy game, isn't it? But where you're alternating between like invading like enemy fortresses, but also you've got villages you have to protect. So you're also like building defenses, which does include like turrets and stuff. But yeah, where there's with like a good like tower defense game, it's all about sort of looking at like, well, hang on a minute, the path sort of curves around here, so that's it's like working out all those little efficiencies you can make to like take out as many enemies as possible. Whereas this, I don't know.
Yeah.
Go on.
There's also a bit of RTS to it as well, I think. So basically, you have a bunch of things at your disposal. They have these 2 creatures. Are they called allays? Allays.
Yes.
And you can basically kind of send them off to attack enemy. Piglins is basically like the enemy.
Oh, hang on. Sorry.
enemies.
The allays are the things that build stuff for you and gather resources and stuff. But then you have the little, it's the golems that you command and.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, you basically can either attack for you, and it kind of like an RTS, and you can like select them and send them off, or you can select them to follow you, and this and that and the other, and then they attack all these piglins. Piglins being the enemies who are basically they're taking over the Minecraft world essentially. So you're fighting kind of alongside creepers and other people that might be enemies in the typical Minecraft game.
Right.
And yeah, it's like a quite a large open world, and you'll be sent to like like a place where there's some people on your side of the fight, and you've got to defend them because piglins are on their way. And then once you kill those piglins, you might want to kind of build fences and towers to take down other piglins that may come and attack that kind of settlement. But in this big open world as well, there are loads of others that are being attacked. So I just found myself going from settlement to settlement, killing all the piglins as they arrived, building all the fences to protect that one, going off to the next one. As you do this, you can kind of like repair some of the things that have been damaged in each of the settlements. You can get chests full of resources, which you'll use to build and save the settlements. Really, I've only played like an hour and a bit, but I haven't really felt anything towards it. I think it looks really nice. I'm not sure what you think about that, Sean, but I think what they've done to like make the Minecraft graphic, style of graphic look a little bit nicer. It's got like a kind of semi-cell shaded kind of black outline towards the graphics. I think that looks really, really nice. It definitely looks like a step above like standard Minecraft, but that's kind of the only thing interesting about it. I haven't really felt much towards the combat, which is super basic.
Yeah.
I
don't know what to feel about, because it looked really good from the trailers and when they were showing it previously. Okay, this is cool. Good mix between PvE and PvP and strategy of saving settlements and building settlements, and I don't know. It just kind of feels a bit throwaway, which feels bad to say. But...
Yeah, I understand, being a strategy game where you're, on the ground and you're running around giving out orders and also, whacking stuff with your sword. Like, I understand that it was never going to be like a super deep action or strategy game. It's, a meld of the two. But I've just got nothing from it on either front. Like build up your defenses in your towns. All the towns are the same. And you just right, well, I'll just build a wall around it, put a gate in, and then just a load of like archery towers. Your resources are more or less limitless as long as you just keep gathering stuff. The gathering and the building, like the way they work is, again, it's a light touch, but I think it makes sense. Like, I wouldn't want to spend time in this game going around, whacking trees down or coal or whatever. No. Like, you just you like place markers for the allays. So you have like a gather wood marker, you put it down, and then within a certain radius they'll just go around like hoovering up all the trees or whatever. That's fine. I didn't mind that. But yeah, like, so you're like, right, I've built a wall around the town, it's got a load of towers. That's fine. And then you go to invade, like an enemy fortress or a camp. And you just make these little buildings that produce the golems. There's different types, but it's like one's good against like other buildings. One's good against the piglins themselves. One like slows enemies down, and then one heals your guys, I think. So you're just like, right, well, you can only have like 20 of them with you at any one time to begin with. That expands a bit. I think it goes up to like 30. but it doesn't feel like at no point are you like, fuck yeah, I am commanding an army charging into battle. Yeah.
I was about to say, I'll stop you there. This just sounds dull.
Yeah.
Like,
It is.
I
There's
don't
just
understand either because
Okay.
I've heard one of the thing, like Sean, like you said about how it's not complex at all, like it's not complicated really, and the systems like are not difficult to figure out, and it's very simple to play. And you see, it's weird because as I said, I showed Asher this because he's played probably like it's thousands now of hours of like Minecraft and like absolutely loves it. And that it can be a very deep and very complicated game, and he spent a lot of time like learning how everything works in that. And I don't understand why they seem to think that they need to create something like this which is so simple, like whereas the target market for that is probably people like him actually that would like, you know, to try and get them into like maybe another genre or something like that using a familiar like property. But why make it simple? Because the like kids like, you know, who are like, you know, younger than 10 years old or whatever can figure out like all the complicated systems of Minecraft, so why not
like Minecraft attracts those kids who are like, fuck yeah, this is really deep, and like that's why they love it. It's like there are plenty of shitty Minecraft clones they could play instead that you know, but like there's a reason Minecraft has persisted.
Into it though? Does it add layers into it? Is there depth?
I mean, not that I found. Like I've spent must be about 3 or 4 hours with it, and I've spent the whole time just being like, what am I missing? Because I don't get it. I don't really understand.
I'm sure there will be, but even I played like an hour and a bit. You play 4, seems like it hasn't changed too much.
Yeah, and like because the other thing is like the way like your abilities sort of expand and get more complex is like this. So in like the middle of the map, you've got like a home base.
That's in the shop.
That's in the shop. And you can put like there are like improvement buildings that you can place, but they use this like special. Like, you need this like special currency to build them, which you only earn from like destroying enemy camps, etc., etc. Fine, but you just like there's like fucking 20 of them, and I'm like, do I want to build the one that lets me gather gold or redstone or iron or coal? Because I don't know what the result of that will be. I don't know what buildings it's going to unlock, and you only find out. And I think you can tear them down again and get the resources back, and then build something else. But it's just like, just tell me what I'm gonna get first from building these things. And like the way your character controls, you go like riding a horse around everywhere, and you have a sword. You hold B, and you just kind of swish your sword left and right. That's your combat.
That's your attack.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And then you press X, and like any sort of nearby sort of friendly units will sort of gather around you and follow you, and then like you press Y, and it sort of that orders them forwards. And that's kind of all I've really done when I'm invading other places. Is just like, right, there's a structure, Y. Okay, they've all run forwards. I guess I'll go up next to them and hold B and hit it with my sword. Oh, there's some enemies. Go towards them, I suppose. Right, they're dead. It's just so... I don't know. It's just been an absolute chore.
I'm sure this will change, but in that first hour, I've just been doing it myself and just found it easier and quicker. Like I could send you over there, but that's a button press and me having to look at a direction. I could just go and hoo them all out myself.
And there's no button to just be like, right, every friendly unit I've got, come to me. There's if they're within a certain radius, you can press the button to gather them to gather. But like you might have like finished a fortress and you're like, oh shit, there's like 2 guys I must have left somewhere, and I've no way of finding out where they were. So
I mean that's like crucial for a real-time strategy game. Like, to have
so you can go to like if you like fast travel to a different location, you can then summon them all. But again, it's all these little things where I'm like, I feel like I must have missed something like obvious here, because this seems weird and like a strange design decision. I'm just quite gutted, because I was really up for this, and obviously, relatively speaking, this is one of the big Xbox releases this year, and really disappointed, sadly.
Yeah, I do think the complexity probably will happen, but it hasn't done enough to make me play more until really,
I think
I will play bits, because Elodie really likes Minecraft, and she enjoyed playing it and seeing all the creatures and this and that and the other. But I don't know. I mean,
Well, because
It
that's
didn't
one
read
thing
it
that's
off.
quite. I don't know if you found this, Matt. Like, because there's loads of like characters in this, and I'm just like, is this just how out of touch I am with Minecraft now? Because it's like referring to loads of stuff as if I should know who these characters are, or what's going on and stuff. And it's like, is this all Minecraft lore that has been built up since I stopped playing like 6 years ago?
There is a lot of that.
Yeah,
There is a
Energy
lot
was-
of Minecraft lore.
She was quite excited in like, the initial cutscene where you see all the piglins underground. I think it's called like the Everworld or something. I was
Oh,
like,
the
it's
Nether,
from the
yeah.
Everworld.
Yeah.
And so she was quite pumped seeing that. And, and she's like, oh, yeah, so the pig, like, because you fight alongside creepers who in the game are the enemies. I was like, oh, she found that quite interesting. But I don't know.
Do you know, I've
So
just
I probably
remembered I
will
was-
end up playing a bit more just because I think she wants to
Like,
see
the
more of it.
multiplayer might still be a laugh. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't played any other modes other than the campaign mode, but there's multiplayer. There's also the other thing where I'm not sure what it's called, but basically says like new adventures every week.
All right.
On one, it's like there's 4 things on the menu. That's like the third one along. So maybe there'll be something like a battle pass or some kind of like a seasonal thing.
Yeah.
So maybe that'd be good, but it just hasn't done enough to grab me so far.
Do you know, the other day I caught Asher on a call to one of his friends where he'd found a website where what you could do is you just typed in like the seed of the Minecraft world, and then it would reveal the entire map of like where everything was in that and like where all the stuff were. Yeah. And so he was sitting there, and then he said to his friend, he was like, "Oh, can you just tell me your seed?" And then he was like, "Okay, I'm going to guide you." And then he was like, if you go down towards that place and then dig there, you'll find loads of gold. And then he did. And then he was like, "How did you know that?" And he's like, I know every map in Minecraft. I know where everything is.
Love it.
A little
My
lie in
brain
there.
can generate the
Yeah,
map
yeah,
from
yeah,
the scene.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder where he gets that idea from.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah.
Like when your face lights up with a different browser because you're googling the fucking answers. Sean, you've been continuing in your Everspace 2 experience. Getting any better?
Fully hooked now. I'm like 23 hours in. Fucking love it.
That's almost a day.
It is. It's just I was saying like last week I was saying how it's gone from like all being in space to like then there's some quite elaborate sort of mines and stuff, and it's all a bit sort of messes with your head a bit, like going because like essentially there's no gravity even when you're on a planet, right? You're going into mines and there's like you forget what up is, right? And that stuff is like actually really
It's
fun.
filming the old man, isn't it?
Yours, right?
Yeah, balloons and that.
It's filming the old man, little dog.
Yeah.
Balloons.
Forget
Balloons
that.
and the
You'll
Sean.
forget all about
Sorry,
that.
mate.
That's all right. It's good. It's good.
You will
Okay.
forget that
You
Pixar
will
classic.
forget that film. And it's like, and I'm into like the second like solar system in the game now, which has stepped things up in terms of like, so there's another race involved. There's quite a few alien races involved, but there's this one in particular that this sort of ominous presence. Like when you first start the game, it's like, right, there's goodies and baddies. There's pirates who will just attack you on sight, and then there's this like corporation who you hate, but you're trying to kind of stay off their radar. And they're relatively goodies in a way. And then you go to the second area. It's like, right, this other race are hanging around and they will fuck you up. So please do not start on them, right? So it's just this interesting atmosphere. You're just like, shit. There's these like previously any ship you saw on like your radar or whatever was either like green or red. It was like these guys are yellow, and you're just like, yeah, they will fucking kill you if you try anything. Like they're not necessarily baddies or goodies. So that's been quite cool. And like you visit like this city that's just like in space. So it's just like this massive floating city, and it's just sort of fairly sort of typical cool sort of cyberpunk stylings, lots of neon signs and stuff, but floating in space. And like that's really good fun to like navigate around. And, like within that, there's like multiple places where you can land, and there's like there's some like story missions that sort of happen in and around it, and it's like, fuck, this is just in space. This is really cool. And it's just like it's one of those RPGs where it's really fun to like, because it's an action game as well. Like you have like a character level, you have all your gear on your ship that you're upgrading and changing, customizing and stuff. But the fun is in like trying to take on stuff that's like just a bit out of your reach. Like the stuff you try and it's like, this is way too hard, I need to not do this and go do something else, I need to level up first. But there's that sweet spot of like, this is like, I'm punching above my weight, but because I'm good enough and I'm thinking about what I'm doing, I'm using my abilities properly, I am just about scraping through. And it's I don't know, it just does a really good job of letting you sort of stay in that space, like just by looking at the levels of like the missions you're taking on, the enemies and stuff. It's I fucking love it, and like it's just been so good just like playing it on the deck. It's one of those games where like it's like everything in life is a distraction from me just sitting on the sofa playing this on my Steam Deck, right?
Yeah,
like having a really, really good time with it.
I want to ask about your
Cool.
Steam Deck. So is that fully integrated now into your gaming habits? That's just do you find
comes and
you
goes.
go for that more than saying, "Oh, it's on the PC"? You just like go to deck straight away, or how's that?
It
compared
varies.
to the Switch?
And it's funny because obviously having like a good PC, especially since I've just upgraded it, so I should be doing everything on the actual PC, right? Because I've just spent fucking money on it. However, you can't beat just like lying on the sofa with the deck instead, even though like clearly it looks worse, frame rate's not as solid, etc. Like, but it just feels nice just being able to do that on the sofa rather than sitting in front of the computer. I mean, if I've bothered to leave the computer switched on, I can stream it from that instead and have it look as good as it does on the computer, but on the deck.
What's the latency like on that?
It's been fine. I did a lot of Miles Morales that way. So yeah.
Did you finish that in the end?
Yeah, ages ago.
Oh,
I like 98%ed it, didn't I? Famously.
that bit
you
where it
got-
comes up on the thing. Oh, where it comes up at the end of that in the graffiti. And it's so good.
Yeah.
Proper lump in the throat.
Mm-hmm.
Have you got a dock for the deck?
I have.
Like, as
yes.
How
We
is
got
that like
dock for
connected
your
to the TV?
Well, I mean, it's running most things in 720p, so not for everyone, probably. Like I've said before, you'd be surprised how quickly you stop noticing. Like if you're just playing something you enjoy, just like probably could look better, but after 10 minutes of like God of War, I'm not comparing it to anything else. Do you know what I mean?
I play a lot of Switch games.
That's true. Yeah.
You very quickly forget what things look like.
Yeah, I mean, I do sometimes so it's like something like Everspace 2. So I do on the deck, I do play it at like a locked 30 frames. Just because like you can get it to like 60-ish, but it's quite inconsistent. So it's one of the few games where I'd rather have it look a bit nicer and have it at locked 30. But yeah, in the back of my head, I'm just like, yeah, but imagine trying to run this on a Switch. Jesus Christ. Like, it would not happen. I really hope this is coming to consoles because I think you guys would actually really enjoy it. It's just an incredibly Moorish action RPG where things blow up in a nice way. Yeah, it's good.
Cool. Matt, you've got another game, Boomerang Food. I've never even heard of this. What is this? Boomerang.
This is like it's a local co-op kind of party game basically, where you it's really super simple controls. You can there's movement obviously, and then you can dash and you can swipe or slash with your boomerang, or you can throw the boomerang. And basically, it's the case of killing the enemies on screen. So it's I played with Elodie yesterday. We had loads of fun, just me versus her. And there's loads of different abilities. You can also have bots as well. So Elodie at one point and I were playing me and her on the same team against a couple of bots or bots on one team each. There are a bunch of different. The levels are really, really simplistic, but there's also places to hide. There's kind of contraptions. There's traps within each of the levels. So because it's basically often like a one-hit kill. So if you get hit with the boomerang, you're basically dead unless you may have a shield or some other ability. But there are lots of contraptions and booby traps in the levels whereby you hit a switch. It's just like you go there and swipe with your boomerang, and that might move a bit of the rock, and it might crush you and whatnot. And it does that great thing where obviously you lobby Boomerang, it might bounce off a surface and then kill you or kill like another enemy and stuff. And yeah, it's like, I think it's like you can change all the rules, but essentially it's like kind of like first to 10 and then that's a round over. There's those different kind of lovely, brightly colored characters to choose, silly outfits, and loads of alternative costumes. You can change all the rules and how the game modes work and how fast the boomerangs are, how many rounds there are. But yeah, it's recommended to me.
Where did you hear about this game?
Someone at work told me about it because I think they played it with their like brother or sister like years ago, and it's only local multiplayer because I thought this would be absolutely perfect for a stream.
I was going to say,
together, but sadly only local. But if you want like a silly kind of party, like battle party game with like someone at home, it's just great fun. It looks really nice as well. It's just me and Eddie having a right old laugh because if it wasn't me and her trying to kill each other, it was like trying to like avenge at the bots that got killed on our team and whatnot. Or you think you're being really clever by lobbing the boomerang, but actually that hits something else and comes back and kills you. There are loads of abilities like explosive boomerangs, or you have like multiple, or you might get a clone. So then like your character splits in two. And like Elodie might have gone for one, but that wasn't the real me. That was a clone me, so that just disappears, and I'm still in the corner. There's one where you kind of I can't remember what it's called, the ability, but basically you turn into one of the kind of objects in the level. So one might be kind of like a Japanese garden, and you turn to like a bit of like a Japanese stone, and so people don't know where you are because you look like one of the other things already on the level, and that's quite fun. So like if you get that ability, just stand still. And then the other players are trying to work out which one you are, and you're like, you come out straight away and kill them. Yeah, a really, really fun little silly multiplayer game. So I'd fully recommend that if you got someone to play with at home.
Cool.
That's Boomerang Foo, by the way. It's only like there's like a 15-minute trial on Xbox, and we're like, let's try it. And then like we bought it as soon as the trial ended because we wanted to play more. It's only like 12 or 15 quid.
Cool.
Yeah,
nice.
I'd definitely recommend it.
Very quickly from me before we move to your games, James. Firstly, Rocket League, turn that on again for the first time in like 6 months. Did a tournament. Didn't bigging myself up. Did a tournament, won the fucking tournament. First tournament we've done in like 6 months.
Still got
My heart was pounding. It's the first time I've ever won a diamond ranked tournament as well. I've only ever done a platinum one. It felt amazing. That game is honestly, instantly we were going, why don't we just play this all the time? Like, why are we playing any other games when this exists? I don't know if I'm fully back in yet because we're still very much on the FIFA Pro Clubs grind, but my word, that one night I was like, oh my, I remember how good this made me feel. And winning a tournament, yeah. Heart was going in that final. Do you know? To win a tournament, like you've got to win 3 games in a row, and then 2 sets of best of 3 games. Like it's not easy. The amount of times we get knocked out in the first round is unbelievable. But there you go. And we didn't lose a game either. We won the whole way through. It felt so good. That's Rocket League. I won't bang on about it. It's still one of the best games ever. The main game I played this week, I played through Storyteller, which was recommended by Al Sean. And I've got to say, I'm a little bit disappointed.
Ooh,
not in you, Sean.
Go on.
So the concept, I'll repeat it again because we've only really spoken about it once on the show, but the concept is it gives you a theme or a sentence. You can see, basically, you're looking at a book that opens up and you can see some empty sort of comic strip panels. You've got some various different options at the bottom of the page. It might say love, and when you do that, you're making 2 characters fall in love. It might say, it might be a cliff, and you're thinking, if they've got the right motivation, then character can push someone else off the cliff, but they're not just going to do it because you put them next to each other on a cliff. Sometimes they shrug, sometimes they're in love, so they just look at each other in love on that cliff, But there's a short sentence at the top. It might say Tiny kills his uncle or whatever, and then you've got to work out how you set up who wherever everyone is in a family tree, and then you've got to give Tiny a motivation to kill his own uncle, and then you've got to give him a scenario where he kills him. It's as simple as that, and unfortunately that is not interesting enough to like. We spoke about how short the game is, right?
Mhm.
It's probably about an hour and a half, right? I
Mm.
think I did it in about an hour and a half, and I'm fine with that. I've never had a problem with length of game, especially if you know that it's a short one going into it.
Mm.
I just thought that some levels, the majority of the levels, it says do this sentence and you finish it and it's done. Some levels they say do this sentence, you do the sentence and it goes, but here's a variable. So
Yeah, it's
now
like a
you've got to
bonus
take your comic
objective.
strip.
Yeah,
It feels like all of them should have done that. Like, or it
yeah,
feels like
yeah.
I was thinking, how about you give me like the options at the bottom,
Mm.
and you give me a checklist like say Untitled Goose Game.
Yeah,
You have
yeah,
a
yeah.
checklist
Yeah.
of things.
Mhm.
So the interesting aspect of what you're doing is you're piecing the same elements together to get different outcomes,
Mhm.
which is what the variable levels do,
Mm.
right? But there's probably about 6 of those across the whole book.
It's
Maybe
more than
less.
that, I think. But yeah, but it's
I don't think
definitely
there's that many.
definitely not enough. Yeah, I'd agree with
Yeah,
that.
and it feels like, if every single one had a variable to it,
Mm.
then that feels like more of a game to me. And instead, it felt like by the time I got to the end, it was like, all I'm doing is trying to work out the order, the very specific order you've got, the designers have got that gives you the outcome that you're after. And I thought that's not as fun. Like, I want to be more playful with it. I want to play with it. I want to try stuff out and get strange outcomes and stuff. And it doesn't really cater for that. So, although I love the concept and I appreciate the artwork and I appreciate the style in which it's presented, and I'm not upset about the game length at all because I was warned about that buying it. I feel that there wasn't enough there to make it playful enough for me to enjoy what was on offer. I feel
No, I
it
know
was
what you mean.
maybe a little bit too rigid.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I guess not that not this is necessarily good enough, but I guess the counter to that is if they'd added more elements, like more tools to play with to make it more playful, did that then make like the base game like way too easy? Do you know what I mean? Like if you like
possibly.
by adding like a couple more variables, do you then technically create like 10 possible solutions, and it becomes too easy?
But then
yeah,
wouldn't it feel? I would say I would counter that. I would come back with that and say, but then the way you go about doing things feels more personal and
True.
not just what am I thinking? Like,
because it definitely does because there are multiple solutions. So it's not like it's just waiting for you to do. Do you know what I mean? The game understands the logic of what is taking place rather than it's just waiting for the correct pieces to be in the correct place. But as you say, but then it feels like that perhaps there should be more of those bonus objectives around that.
Yeah, where it's kind of like, I've been given a system here and I'm having fun and playing with it, as opposed to I've been given a system here. How do I make it fit within the
how do I do this one possible series of events?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's a hard game to properly review, but I don't think I quite got out of it what I wanted to. But interesting concept, and I hope I hope someone looks into doing something similar and maybe having a little bit more fun with it for sure. So that was my review of Storyteller. James, you've got a few games down. You've been busy. You've been on a holiday. You managed to fit a fair few games in.
I did.
Let's
I
hear it.
played through. So first of all, I played through PARANORMASIGHT because this is one that Matt you played as well, and you said it was very good, and you're completely right. It is very good, and it's a visual novel, but it's quite innovative, I think, in the way that it presents everything, because there's a whole bunch of like parallel stories that are going on at the same time, and then you have to kind of flick between the different stories to progress the overall story. And one of the things that I really liked about it was that the logic is like there are kind of puzzles there, but they're quite as long as you're paying attention, as long as you read like all of the notes that you're presented throughout, they're not. It's not difficult. Like the questions are not difficult, apart from one where they said, "Where did this murder happen?" And I tried, like, basically, I clicked every single place on the map until, and then it kept on saying, "No, that's not right. Why don't you have another try?" And then I was like, "Oh, this is a bit rubbish." But then after that, the guy just says to me, "It's like, well, that took you 9 attempts," which wasn't great. So this was good. I mean, the game also has pretty dark themes, I would say. Like there's some it's quite some of the stories are quite nasty, really, I would say, but very well written as well. And some of the characters are very sympathetic, and you sort of see, I can see why you'd want to do this. There's a logic there. But I mean, I just hope this is sold well and that there might be more of them. I mean, I don't want to talk about the story too much because it will, as usual, totally ruin it. And it's not even a very long game. I'd say it's probably about 10 hours. Would you say, Matt? What do you think?
Yeah. It probably took me longer. Obviously, I think it's probably like 10 to 15 for me. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it also looks amazing. It has some nice sort of like twists as well. And then if you try, because it appears to begin with that there's only like 4 characters that you're sort of playing through, but then other stuff gets unlocked, and then there's like the usual true ending and all that kind of stuff. Which I went back and unlocked everything just so I could get that, so you could see the way things pan out. And yeah, it is excellent. It's not up there with something like Steins Gate or something like that, but it's still a very good time, and it's still. In terms of visual novels, it's a much more interesting one than they usually are.
I do really need to play this. Like I say, because I bought it because broadly speaking, I'm trying to not stay up too late every fucking night at the moment. I've been doing for the last few weeks. So I was like, I'll buy it on my phone, and I will go to bed early, and be like, that'll be half an hour of Paranormasight before bed. Turns out, when I get in bed and don't need to immediately fall asleep, I'd rather watch a video about watches or radio-controlled cars. Or
That's the problem, though, isn't it? It's because playing games is kind of work, sometimes, and often you just feel I can't be bothered.
Yeah, because it's not the. Obviously, I fucking love video games, but yeah, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to engage with something critically tonight. I just want to.
I know, you're just give me the entertainment, please.
Yeah.
Like with that.
No, how pompous you two sound. Right about
just turn on some of the lights in my brain, but not all of them.
Oh, I just wish people didn't care about my opinions. I
just
why
want to.
do people need to know what I think?
Just want to enjoy stuff without having to take the pulse of the nation, Dave. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's getting me down, man. I'm trying to find Paranormasight on the phone. Is it out on the phone? Is it?
It's on all the phones.
$18.99.
Ooh, it was I'm pretty sure it was $14.99 on Android.
It was cheaper on Switch.
When it goes down when it goes down in price on iOS, I'll be like, Android did it first though.
It's on Switch.
Yeah, I played it on Switch, and it was great. It worked out very well.
Yeah, I think when I got on Switch, it was like 12 quid, maybe. Or no, I think that was like a launch price reduction, so maybe it is standard as 15. But yeah, you should play it, Sean. It's easily one of my favorite games of the year.
Cool.
And it's also because it doesn't have that same kind of linearity that you often get with these kind of games. It's like I really like the way it moved around. It was it was great.
I said all right.
Okay, all right. Anyway, the other game I played is another. It's not a visual novel because it's more of an adventure game. Was Beyond the Steel Sky, and I've been wanting to play this for a long time because it follows on from Beneath the Steel Sky, which is a game that I think has got like the best title of a game name ever. I don't know what it is, but I just love it. I just love the. It's just. I don't know.
What's
it just
coming next? You're doing the next one. What do you call it? Around the Steel Sky.
No, that doesn't work.
There goes the
Steel Sky. Above the Steel Sky.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Steel Sky.
Hello again, Steel Sky.
Goodbye, Steel Sky. Still. Yeah, forget it.
Oh, wow!
Matt's brain just fucking melted.
Matt, don't grab it unless you've got one ready. You
I was gonna say like steel skying, but I think I got lost.
I've never seen anyone drop a ball as badly as that before. Come on. Was it any good?
Yeah, it's very good. Mostly because, okay. So
I'm not laughing at you, James.
I know.
Okay.
Anyway, so Beneath a Steel Sky told the story of a dystopia, and this one instead presents a kind of like technological utopia, which obviously has problems. There's things going on, and it's set sometime after the first game, where you are again Robert Foster from the first game, and you return to Union City to search for a child who's gone missing. Because you've been living in the Gap, which is kind of like a wasteland, like
Shop
outside
for
the
clothes and
city,
that.
but with freedom. Yeah. So so you put me off.
They do nice. They do all right jeans. They do all right jeans, mate.
They do. They're not too
I
bad.
don't think we've ever bought anything from Gap.
Why?
Am I missing out?
Nah, you're all right.
It's just average clothing.
Yeah,
I think
pretty
that's
I
about
didn't
it.
even realise it was still
standard.
going. I thought that had just gone in, you know.
It's like Uniqlo, isn't it? It's about the same as that, I think.
Yeah.
Uniqlo's all right.
Anyway,
Yeah, that's cooler than Gap,
Fashion
surely.
expert. Sean's now become our fashion expert. Sean, what do you think of what do you think of Fred Perry?
Fred Perry's all right. I got a Fred Perry polo. Love it.
Yeah, nice, isn't it? Go on.
do you want more clothes opinions or the game?
No. Let's go back to the game.
Do you say clove opinions?
I know, I did. Just as I said it, I thought that was so good. I
Sorry,
should have
mate,
said
you
cloth.
can't have a go at anyone for saying
Well, I
something
just
weird.
fucking did.
Okay, come on, James. We're all
So-
listening now.
As I said, it's an adventure game, but it's what's a bit of a shame about it is it feels a little bit underbaked. In that there's very few locations that you get to visit, and there's very few people that you get to talk to, and there's not many puzzles, and they've added like this sort of hacking sort of aspect to it, which is also very simplistic. And it's one of those things where it just feels like this probably maybe they wanted this to be a lot bigger than it ended up being, and I think it feels like it was a bit sort of rushed out, really, because it feels like not quite finished. But saying that, I still had a very good time with it. It's there's still a lot there to engage with and enjoy, I think, especially.
What did you play on?
I played it on Switch. This is I played
So
this on Switch.
does it work control like a old school point and click?
No, it's like 3D, like as in like you like walk around and then select people and
Okay.
stuff like that, and then talk with them.
Okay.
Yeah, but
It's
there's no.
on, it's on Apple Arcade, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
I've got 3 months of that. I need to take
Mate,
advantage
you
of
can
it.
definitely clean up the remaining good games in 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because I've been intrigued by this, and I really need to actually properly play through the first 2 Broken Swords as well, because I have very
They're
fond
good.
memories of
Yeah.
playing bits of both of them back in the day.
I just love that. I feel sick when I see that artwork, and the nostalgia for me is just off the charts with Broken Sword and those old school point and click adventures.
Have a listen to. I know I plugged it once, like a month ago already, but my favorite console, Simon Parkin's show. So we had Charles Cecil on recently.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking hell, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, he's just had the most ridiculous life. Like just like the format of the show pretty much goes out the window. It's just Charles Cecil telling fucking mad stories about like when he
Nice.
worked for Activision and had to take part in a boat race, and just when he charmed
That's
Ron
good to
Howard
see.
for 2 hours. It's
Yeah.
just so good. Well worth a listen.
Let's get listened to. Yep.
Yeah, but as I said, this is as I said, it feels like it could have been more, but it's still is enjoyable. It's still a very, very
All
good time.
right.
And last game I've been playing is Advance Wars, and I can't stop playing this, and I fucking love it.
Oh,
It's
is it
the
as good
re-release,
as
yeah?
is it as good as it was? Really?
It's absolutely as good as it was, and I mean,
oh, mate,
I'm
don't say that. I'm gonna buy
it's
it
crazy,
then,
right?
aren't I?
I'm up to chapter 18 from like the first game because
Yeah.
I've been on a lot of flights, and so I've just been playing that. And it's what they say. It's like a secret cheat code for going on a flight. It's like the time just goes like it's just
Oh,
gone.
it's so good.
from it. And it's just, David, it's crazy how much better this is than like any of the recent Fire Emblem games.
Yeah.
And mostly there's no crap story like to begin with. There's no crap characters and like with bad like voice acting and stuff. There's no leveling of the characters and figuring out weapon types and systems. It's just pure strategy. They present you with what you've got and then you figure it out. And I love it. And like do you remember like Andy's theme, like the music, from that?
No, I don't. But I guarantee when I hear it, it'll kick in.
It's crazy because I can listen to that on loop like forever, and it's just fucking brilliant. It's so good.
James, I remember thinking when I played the game originally, I remember thinking, this is better than chess. This is gonna chess can stop now, and we can just play this now instead of chess. I remember genuinely thinking that. I was just smoking a lot of weed back then. But, that was a thought I had in my brain.
It's not a bad thought, to be honest. After spending so much time on this, because it's great. And I mean, I'm hoping.
Did they get around the problem? Well, the stuff that might touch on real world events.
They don't address it. There's. I mean, obviously they don't address it. There's nothing there.
They've still got that Russian style faction.
Yeah, there's a faction which is like that, but it's. I mean, it's
It's funny, isn't it? Because on the one hand, of course, they never intended for that to be like an upsetting thing. But then there is also now an air of like, well, they're just sort of counting on people not really caring about the situation in Ukraine anymore.
I think kind of that. I mean, if you go back, cancelling it maybe was not the best decision they made. Maybe I don't know. It's tough.
No, I think they had to because they would have just been advertising a war game when war was breaking out.
They should have just done like the Tears of the Kingdom announcement and just delayed it by an hour in the UK.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the weirdest thing. But I mean, a lot of people can be complaining about like the price for this because it's like 50 quid.
It is too expensive.
I was like, I'm going to get this. I never played it originally. I was like, hell yeah, I'll get it. And for some reason in my mind, I thought like a 25 quid game.
I don't know if it is because they've done a lot of work on this, like in the sense that it looks really nice, and also they've remixed all the sound and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, there's a lot there as well. There's a lot of game like there as well. There's like there's all the like multiplayer stuff. There's like a map builder. There's two full like the first game and the second game. I don't know if it is. I mean,
it is 22 years old though.
So,
it's 22 years old.
That doesn't stop it from being a good game. Like they've put a lot of work into.
I'm not saying it's a bad game. I didn't say it's affected its quality. I'm saying it's 50 quid is a bit of a piss take for a 22-year-old game, right?
But you could say that about any like re-release or like remaster or whatever.
And I do.
I know.
I do.
You could. I mean, obviously, I'd like it to be cheaper than it was, but I wouldn't say I don't feel ripped off playing this honestly because it's so good. It's so good.
And I never played them originally, so I feel like I'm missing out. And I like aspects of Fire Emblem. If you're like this is better than any Fire Emblem game, then
yeah,
I just wish. Games. I mean, they went wild with Fire Emblem games, like loads of them. And I like Fire Emblem. It's I do like those games, but this is so much better.
But your drop off for Fire Emblem was incredible.
Oh, like, it kills me.
Totally understandable.
Because
totally.
Yeah, because Awakening is genuinely one of my like top 10 all timers.
Yeah,
and then basically when you look at like the discourse around the franchise, everyone's just like, yeah, they did that one and then tried to keep recapturing the magic of that and failing over and over again.
It was wild because even Tree Houses, you were like, Free Houses, you were like, oh, there's something here, but then you still like that game, right? And then this new one come out, and it was literally 1 week of, I hope it gets better, and then it just went quiet from you guys, and I was like, wow.
James finished it, but I didn't.
He did finish it. Yeah, it was.
That's why he's so angry about the whole affair.
But again, I finished that because I ended up just skipping all the story stuff because it was awful. Like I can't state how awful and angry that story made me. It was just like awful. And this is too good. It's really good.
Okay, cool. Advance Wars available now on your Switch. Is that it?
Yeah, that's all I've got.
That's what we've been playing this week. Let's get to questions before we wrap up and get out of here.
If you want to contact us, go to tcgs.co/dear-tcgs. Dave Hodgkins, there we go, says, hey lads, inspired by Wrexham FC, a Hollywood A-lister has decided to purchase a podcast in need of a cash injection. TCGS has been chosen. Questions. 1. Which A-lister has taken a shine to the 4 cheeky boys and have decided to pump you full of cash? What do you reckon?
Oh, good question. Who are we
Paul
thinking?
Rudd.
Paul Rudd?
No,
Yeah, I reckon
Vernon
I reckon he'd come on the show if we asked.
Yeah.
He's a nice
Paul
guy.
Rudd. Go on, ask him then.
I will.
That's going to be your task
Okay.
to ask him on the show.
Challenge accepted.
Paul Rudd.
Because
Okay.
then we can just go around saying, well, Rudd's in charge now.
Yes.
You know, the whole time.
It will start, and you guys will go, "Oh, David said Ant-Man Quantumania was shit," and then I'll go, "Oh, sorry, man, but you were good in Friends," and they'll go, "Yeah, they were the glory days, weren't they?" I said, "Yeah, that and Clueless," but
So we're going with Paul Rudd. Actually, because Paul Rudd's, but he's been to Wrexham recently, hasn't he?
Yeah, he was there for that game on the weekend.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
drinking in the pubs and all sorts.
Yeah,
wasn't
well, there
he?
you go.
So,
I could have driven over there and said, "Oi, mate,
asked him, yeah,
while you're here,
just plugged your phone into the speakers at Wrexham,
yeah."
and then just,
Hey, listen
well,
to
hello
Right,
there.
Paul Rudd.
2. Who would be a target in the upcoming podcast transfer window? Keza or Keith Stewart for some added broadsheet prestige? Inel must be a target, surely.
I know will be a target.
I know will be a target.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've got a lot of scouts out at the moment.
Yep.
Looking at a lot of European targets. Yeah, a lot of young talent out there as well, but nothing to say at the moment.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep quiet then. Sorry.
Number 3, who would be sent down to Kane and Rince on a free transfer?
James,
Matt.
next question.
Oh, James. Yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant. Sean.
Thanks.
Well, I suppose I'm the chummiest with him, right?
David.
We haven't invited me on any shows this year. Shame.
Well,
Shame
I
for
mean,
them.
welcome to my fucking world. They don't
Alright,
like me
so
having
they-
me.
No, to be
You're
fair,
being
it's
good.
probably a good thing because the last few times I've been on, I've just like, I haven't got time now for this. This is insane. Why have I said yes to this? I mean, it's always been a really good time, but I always feel bad that I've not like, you know, it used to be like, well, if I'm going to be on Kane and Rince, I'm going to replay the game 100%, start to finish. Whereas now I'm like, that's not happening. I don't finish games I want to play that are new and I like. It's not happening.
Let alone other ones, yeah.
Exactly.
So what you're saying is Kenny Rince might reject the free transfer, sure.
Yes. They don't even want me for free. Just not prepared to put the hours. Although I suppose if I was being transferred rather than doing both shows, I'd have the time, wouldn't I?
Good point, you have those time, yeah.
I know. Right, question 4. I guess the ultimate goal would be to reach the Premier League of podcasting, a show on BBC Sounds. But what would be a decent short-term goal? James getting stoned on stream with everyone's favourite tech bro loser, Elon Musk. Love you, bye.
That'd be good.
That would be good. That would be a good stepping stone, wouldn't it?
Could we do it without the Elon Musk thing? Could it just be James getting stoned?
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good as well.
Yeah.
Because we'd probably lose as many listeners as we
goal,
gain if we had Musk
You
on.
say the ultimate goal is a show on BBC Sounds. Not really. The ultimate goal is to be bought by the BBC for hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Yeah, but if we're on the BBC, we've got to be impartial about everything, Dave. Can you imagine
then,
that?
Okay, then.
No, you
then
don't.
not.
Yeah, you do.
Have you not heard them recently?
They're not the BBC then, because well, whatever. Just put someone bias. I just want I want to retire. Just someone come in with a ridiculous sum. Like, would you sell the rights to TCGS for £50 million?
They make us carry on doing it for X number of years.
Right? Yeah. We'll have to sign a 2-year
golden
contract.
handshake clause, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
2 years. At the end of 2 years, we'll suddenly all
contract.
just mysteriously leave.
Yep.
I'd sign a 20-year contract for that. For if we were all getting over 10 mil each. Yeah.
What, for
thanks.
another
I'd
20
sign it.
years?
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
don't have to do
I'll
your
stick
actual
to the
job
standard-
anymore. Oh no, you quite like yours, so that doesn't that doesn't
Yeah, I
count.
like
It's
my
not the
job,
same.
I'll stick to the
Yeah.
standard 2-year one, actually, thank you.
And
then-
we'd only want you on for 2 years anyway. We'll go on to better things after that.
Yeah,
Next.
we'll all
I
just
mean, we should-
regroup and call ourselves the video game show.
I
No,
mean, in
you
terms of
can't,
short-term
'cause
goals, we should, I don't know if we want to give out the numbers, but we should say like we've been hitting milestones left, right, and centre the last few months, right?
I don't. Right. Okay.
It's been really
We
nice.
could briefly touch on this.
Mhm.
Something has happened to our listening figures, and it has genuinely gone through the roof.
You make it sound like it's some sort of mistake. Like
I
it's-
don't think I'm
Well, I do worry
exaggerating when I'm
sometimes.
saying we might have tripled our listeners in the past 6 months, maybe around that. It's been nuts, right? It's been nuts. I mean, we've always been climbing, but this has been insane. So someone out there is a new listener that knows why. So if you can
Please
get
tell
in
us
touch
why.
and let us know, because we haven't got a fucking clue.
I mean,
Yeah,
my
it's
suspicion
been
is
amazing.
it's the guests is what I think. Is the...
Yeah, that we've not been on it as much.
yeah.
But yeah, this is why we was joking about being like the most downloaded show a couple of weeks ago, and that wasn't a joke. That's legitimately happening at the moment. So thanks anyway. It's really nice to get this.
But it's
It's
surreal, though, isn't it?
wild.
Like we've said, like we don't know where these people are coming from. It's not like we've had an influx
Where
of
they're
like, hey,
finding us.
new, yeah. We've not had any sort of influx of messages being like, hey, just started listening to the show, or like, I don't know. Maybe we should look
Also,
at the iTunes reviews.
imagine listening to it now. I was just going, fuck me. Half of it we can't understand because it's referencing episodes 200 episodes ago. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
kinda mad.
Okay.
Yeah, all it
Thanks
took was
for listening.
all it took was a string of episodes where we weren't all on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should try an episode where none of us are on it.
Yeah,
Put out
people
2
are like,
hours
"Oh,
of
mama."
silence. Be John Cage would love it.
And those that are listening, do you know that you can watch the video version of the show on twitch.tv/TCGSco? And those that are watching the video version of the show, or you can watch it back on YouTube when the normal pod goes out. Ones that I do want to point out, because I've just looked at myself in the camera for the first time and noticed something on my bedside table there. This is
Dildo.
Yeah.
Oh, it
it's
is a
actually
dildo.
Dumbbells,
Oh,
right?
okay.
They're little dumbbells for working out. But when I looked it up over here, I was like, someone's going to mention that in the YouTube comments. Someone will mention that in the YouTube comments. Dumbbells. Next question, please.
Maria Mendieta says, Dear TCGS Konami Crazy Racers, like David, I'm fascinated by rage quit videos. I find myself wondering what makes a person willing to lose their mind in front of other players. What would your rage quit tantrum entail, and which game would provoke it?
Oh my God, FIFA.
I've talked about this before because I've done this before. I mean, okay, when I was younger and more rage-filled and less in control,
Right.
I destroyed a blind once.
way.
I remember you doing this.
And how many
This was
years did it
over
take to
Pong,
put it
wasn't
back up?
When Pong first came out,
never
you were
did.
doing this, weren't you? That was the rage. Also, that was an amazing joke, Sean.
Thank
that
you.
I stumbled all over.
That's
I
all right,
apologise.
that's all right.
What was the game again? I remember
It was
you
Jet Set Radio.
bashing on- Jet
was
Set
Jet Set
Radio.
Radio.
I mean, that was a frustrating game. Once the difficulty
was.
picked up, the police started showing up. Just take the fucking police out of that game. It's a better game without. Absolutely pointless.
Or every game.
Whoop. Mine's absolutely FIFA, because FIFA is a game that when you're winning is all about skill, and when you're losing is the game fucking you over at every opportunity. And the amount of times I've got so angry, I just want to turn it off and never play again, ever. You know, and then you get the text in the group chat the next day, who's playing tonight, and you go, me.
See, I
But FIFA's the
genuinely
worst for that.
don't. I don't know. And this isn't me being like, oh, I'm just fucking zen as fuck. Do you know what I mean?
Hey,
Like,
man.
plenty of stuff fucking
Rocket League.
pisses me off.
You were legendary for being really angry about Rocket League.
It's not so much anger, though, is it? It's just like,
What is it?
I don't know. It's like I feel like I can. It's like I feel like by just physically tensing up, I'll somehow play better. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, it's.
That's all the that's all the athletes say, don't they?
Yeah.
Tense
That's how it
up.
works. That's how it works.
You'll get your best times.
Yep. I don't know. Yeah, I'm more like, I generally speaking, if something's pissing me off, I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna stop. I'm like, I've paid for this. I'm not gonna carry on playing it if it's upsetting me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I will just keep pushing through regardless, even though there's no reason. It's I'm getting worse
Bollocks,
at
there
the
must be a
game.
game that you get rage quit on. There must be.
No, I can think of. Like, if I'm sucking at a game, I'll just keep. I mean, you saw my Dark Souls stream, so I'll keep doing it for 8 hours if it means trying to get through it. Then something at the end. So I'll just keep pushing through, and I don't know. Maybe I should rage quit. That'll probably save me a lot of time and effort and energy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that I hate you too. Next.
Big Jim says, hello, I'm a fan of the full-length outro
Big
music. I was enjoying it as usual this week and a thought occurred. What was the old TCGS music? Without listening back, are any of you able to hum the old theme tune?
I think I can.
I don't think
Doesn't it go... Right, okay, this might be the current one, but...
It's good.
That one. Yeah, that was a tune.
Good memory.
And then someone pointed out that it sounded like something from a forklift truck demonstration video, and it completely destroyed it for me.
That's why we changed it.
After that,
that's why we changed it.
Okay. One of the reasons, yeah.
Last one from MD Krabuffs. Is there anything you wished would come back into fashion?
Shell suits.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, everything from like the 90s is coming back in fashion. So we're, as you know, children of the, born in the 80s or 40s in James's case, we like everything from our childhood is coming back in now, right?
Not loose clothing.
Yeah, it is. Baggy clothing's like oversized clothing is the thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Where?
It is everywhere. Look at jeans. Yeah. Jeans are like big baggy t-shirts, big baggy loose fitting jumpers. That's
not where I'm at. When you go out now, everyone's wearing they look like jeggings. Like everyone's wearing really tight jeans.
It's true. I agree.
I don't know where you're seeing these.
You live in Germany. They've always loved tight jeans on the mainland.
All right, but I live in London and everyone's wearing tight jeans. If you go to your local,
the youth, which me and Matt understand, don't we, Matt?
Yeah,
we know what's down.
Well, I keep getting told that skinny jeans are massively out of fashion. I should stop wearing them. Like, no, I'm not going to stop wearing them now. It's been like 20 years.
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
Matt's like, I didn't put all the work into this arse to hide it.
Yeah, this is it now forever.
No, it's all jeggings down here. You go anywhere.
You just live in a very untrendy area, Dave.
London.
You want to wise up, mate.
Notoriously untrendy London. All right. Sorry. So it's not. That's not the trend up in. Where do you live?
It's not important.
Sean. Okay. In fairness,
is there anything we wish would come back into fashion? I mean, I don't know. I'm genuinely struggling.
Sony Walkmans.
But they're like retro portable audio stuff is becoming a thing again.
You don't wish that they come back into fashion, though, Matt.
No, I'm using headphones from fucking 1983.
Yeah, I know, but
I wouldn't actually use them.
But what, Dave? Go on.
You like being different. That's all I'm saying.
They're just really good. They're fucking useless outdoors.
You're the only one that I've ever seen wear them. Everyone else has got these bloody little dots in their ears.
Excuse me. The Cos Porter Pros have endured over the years because they do actually sound fucking incredible. They're just no good. Like if there's any other noise.
I like the fact.
Are they better than the Soundbeats?
Yes.
Yes, I like the fact that we've got 4 middle-aged men, parents no less, discussing what's currently in fashion. And
have you not seen? There's like
they've got.
There's a meme with like basically a picture of a guy wearing these headphones, and it says like, if people are wearing these around where you live, your rent's about to go up.
Who wrote that meme though? Was it you?
Me.
I did a meme.
Okay. All right. I don't want to talk about fashion anymore. It's embarrassing. Should we move on?
That is it. That was the last question. So
Matt, let's get to the socials.
Nothing.
Yeah. So no regular streams this week, but this Thursday at 9 we're going to do our Patreon video stream for the month of April, and we are playing Super Mario Party. That'll be on Patreon at 9 on Thursday. So if you're a Patreon supporter at the £8.50 and above tier, you'll get an email in the next couple of days telling you how to watch that live. As well as that, if you want to like subscribe to our regular Twitch channel for when we get back into regular streaming, go to twitch.tv/TCGSco. If you've got an Amazon Prime account, connect that to your Twitch account. You get a free sub every month. Go to our channel, and we'll really appreciate it if you gave us that free sub. The website's tcgs.co for links to our amazing Discord community. And there's people join it every day. So if you want to talk to other like-minded TCGS people from your area, go over and sign up our Discord. And there's also links to our socials, the store, other bits and bobs.
They
on
might
that
not
website
be
too.
from your area. We should probably say that.
From
They
anyone's
might not
area.
be from your area.
Anyone's area. All
No,
areas.
not anyone's area. We can't lie about things. What
Lots
if
of
there's someone in
areas.
Iceland listening now, just going, you know?
Well,
let's-
maybe.
Hold on.
If you live in Iceland, get in touch.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But there won't be other people from their area in the Discord. If we've got 2 people from Iceland, that'd be nuts, wouldn't it?
It would.
Don't
mean,
make a
it's possible.
joke about the shop, Matt. I know that's where your mind's going right now.
He's desperate.
It was, wasn't
Come
it?
on. Come
You're
on.
trying to
God, I was so
probe
close
the
to
shit.
saying it.
my mum's there once because
Yeah,
she's
mum's gone. That's one. You're good.
Okay. Is that it? Are we done with it? Is there anything
Yeah, we're
else?
done.
Then thank you so much for living it. We will see you next week for more gaming chit chat. It's been an honor to be in your ears. Goodbye, everyone.
That was a lot. It's a big image, isn't it? Bye.
It is a little bit.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Too much.
Goodbye.